Hello, and welcome to another episode of You'll Only Listen Twice, our Bond movie review podcast where we're taking a look at all the Bond films, both official and unofficial. And as always, I'm Jake.
I'm Troy.
And I quit. This movie sucked. I'm Jan.
You can't quit. You can't stop this train now, Jan.
Oh, we're not even halfway through.
We paid you $1 million to come back, Jan.
$2 million after overages, actually. Producer Paul can tell you about it.
It was a nightmare getting Jan just for this one. He said never, but you know what? I don't think he'll say never again.
Oh no! God damn it!
Have we ever mentioned that movie in this podcast?
I don't think so.
Have we ever mentioned The Gay Bride in this podcast?
No.
It's a 1934 film by Jack Conway, starring Carol Lombard and Chester Morris.
Paul,
Is Chester Morris in that
cut
movie?
him
I
off.
don't
Introduce yourself.
Please introduce yourself, please.
I'm producer Paul. I'm reasserting myself after last week we had a guest. So
yes.
that was a mistake. I did.
And now our time with George Lazenby has passed. We're saying goodbye to our good old Aussie boy. Paul is very sad, I'm sure.
Yay!
And we're moving on to a new era, a new decade, the 1970s.
Oh.
Yes, we have a new Bond, which is the exact same Bond from the earlier Bonds. We got Sean Connery again because today we are talking about
Diamonds Are Forever.
I feel like Homer Simpson in that Treehouse of Horror episode of being like, that's good, that's bad, that's good.
Wait, with these movies or with Diamonds Are Forever?
With everything you just said. But I'm like, George Lazenby's gone, that's good. Now we're in the 70s, that's bad. Sean Connery's back, that's good. But he's old and bloated now, that's bad.
Can I go home now?
Can I go home now?
So, yes, we are on Diamonds Are Forever, the 1971 classic final hurrah for Connery until it wasn't.
Well, it's the last official hurrah for both him and arguably Blofeld?
Actually, no.
Yes, I will tell you why this is the last we ever see of Blofeld, because Blofeld, as we all know, was created by Kevin McClory, so was James Bond, so that bald guy in For Your Eyes Only could not possibly be Blofeld, because...
Legally distinct bald man with cat.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, that's how he's credited.
It could be anyone.
You think they tried to put hair on Blofeld in this movie to, try to legally distinguish him?
I'm not Blofeld, I'm Blofeld. I'm a completely different character.
He's it's because it's Vegas, he's part of the Blue Man Group. And that's why there are so many of them.
Well, I don't know if we want to get into it now, but apparently the original idea for the villain in this movie was going to be Goldfinger's identical twin, played by Gert Frobe.
You are exactly right, Troy. So
oh my God,
initially...
I mean, it already sucks, but...
it already sucks, but, it would have sucked even worse. But, okay, yeah, the originally Dick Maybaum, our lovely screenwriter from the first Bond movies, came back to write a draft, and in this draft, they decided that the villain should be Goldfinger's twin brother, which they decided not to do, which is not the villain in the book Diamonds Are Forever, but this movie is so divorced from that book, it doesn't even matter bringing it up. So the idea for the villain actually came to Albert R. Broccoli in a dream. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? This is story time right now.
Albert R. Broccoli makes his movies like David Lynch.
Yeah.
Bullshit. That's how I feel. Total fucking bullshit.
Basically, Troy knows the story, but
Albert R. Broccoli meditated for weeks.
Well, this is close. All right, story time. A long time ago in the 1930s, Albert R. Broccoli met his wealthy cousin in Los Angeles. And his cousin was friends with Cary Grant, and also an interesting man whose friends referred to as Sam. Sam being Howard Hughes. Billionaire industrialist Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
Sam was the name that Howard Hughes went by his friends. So Cubby Broccoli struck up a friendship with Howard Hughes. He even tried to distribute one of Broccoli's movies in the 40s, but that fell through. But he managed to be friends with him for a while.
Why isn't this in The Aviator?
It should have been.
Kate Blanchett was originally cast as Cubby Broccoli.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Then they were like, no, Katharine Hepburn's maybe a little more relevant.
So they had contact. They were still friends. But then after a while, Howard Hughes dropped off the face of the earth. And then the early 60s. What? Yeah. I know, right?
What?
Shocker.
I never knew about
But he
this.
reached
Wow.
out to Cubby Broccoli and was like, hey, we haven't talked in a while. And Broccoli would send over 16 millimeter prints of the Bond movies to him, which apparently when they got back, according to Dana Broccoli, the prints were like worn thin. They were like fucked up by the time. So he loved the Bond movies. But then after a while, you know, Howard Hughes became, as we know, more and more reclusive and stayed at the Desert Inn on the top two penthouse floors, and nobody really ever heard from him. One day, as they're in pre-production for Diamonds Are Forever, as I said before, Cubby Broccoli had a dream that he was outside the window of the penthouse floor of the Desert Inn, knocking on the window, seeing a figure that looked like Howard Hughes with his back facing the window. And he knocked on the window going like, Sam! Sam! It's me! Sam! And then Howard Hughes turned around. But it wasn't Howard Hughes.
It was Sam.
No. So Broccoli woke up and told his wife, that's what our villain is. Do you want it to be someone impersonating Howard Hughes? Yes. What if Howard Hughes was kidnapped and someone else is running everything for him? And so by this time they had got in screenwriter Tom Mankiewicz, who had just finished.
Mank.
Yes. He had just finished doing a book, or he wrote a book for a play that closed down after 3 nights. I checked my notes. What was the play called?
Wasn't it like Georgie?
It was.
something?
Yeah, that was it. It was Georgie.
Curious George.
Curious George. Yes. So Georgie shut down after 3 nights. And within that week, he got a call from United Artists saying, hey, you want to take a crack at the Bond script? It's 2 weeks work guaranteed. And he's like, okay. And he just kind of stuck around for the entire shoot. And he subsequently wrote the next movie, Live and Let Die.
Oh.
And what's funny about Tom Mankiewicz is people may also know him as the screenwriter who wrote he co-wrote part of the first Christopher Reeve Superman movie.
He did,
and
the first 2.
Movie, the first 2, and Jill St. John in this movie. Tiffany Case calls James Bond, look at Superman over here.
It was fate.
And I'm like, future.
The way of the future. The way of the future.
You can guess which parts of the Superman movie Mankiewicz wrote based on the fact that he wrote Diamonds Are Forever, Live and Let Die, and The Man with the Golden Gun.
The confusing bad ones that feel like an acid trip.
The Gene Hackman parts,
Yes.
So anyway, well, they have a new American screenwriter, and that seems to be the route that the producers wanted to go with this new Bond, because they're like, we need to cater to the American market. Let's move production over to America. We're going to set up shop at Universal Studios and use the sound stages there. And we're going to find an American actor. And also, United Artists really wanted this movie to be like Goldfinger, to repeat the success, because On Her Majesty's Secret Service, even though it made a shit ton of money, was not the hit that they wanted it to be. So they're like, we need to go back to formula with an American, but the producers wanted an American James Bond. So they got back.
They're like, we need to go back to formula, and they go to Kentucky Fried Chicken first thing.
There was too much Kentucky Fried Chicken.
They're just standing in front of the Kentucky Fried Chicken parking lot being like,
We're home.
So anyway, they're looking at actors. They bring back Guy Hamilton, and Guy Hamilton's like, I'm ready to go to do another Bond movie. And he's watching TV, and he's like, oh, this guy's perfect for James Bond. And they're like, no, you can't cast him. He's a TV actor. He won't amount to a thing. And that man was named Burt Reynolds.
I got a feeling beneath those jeans is something wonderful just waiting to get out.
Wow.
Wait, there's
Burt
Wait,
Reynolds.
there's-
Wait, I'm getting to the other one, Troy.
But I want to talk about how Adam described it. Were you guys at that Q&A?
Oh, no. What happened?
Yeah, the TCM Classic Film Festival in 2016 showed the 1966 Batman with Adam West and Lee Merriweather, moderated by Ben Mankiewicz.
Mank.
Mank's in the
Yay!
house. And Adam West talked about this. He was like, yes, they came to me to play James Bond after On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And I went, I don't think an American Bond would work. And then Adam West said, they also asked Burt Reynolds. And I went, Smokey and the Bond? I don't think so.
Oh,
And then we
man.
all laughed, and then Adam West left, and then he died a year later.
Nobody messes with Adam Wee.
But that was a great screening.
That was a great screening. But yeah, Adam West apparently had like one sit-down meeting with the Broccolis at their home in England, and nothing came of that. But they had traction on one actor. They were like, this is the guy who is going to become the new face of James Bond.
Sean Connery.
Well, getting to that, they cast a familiar face. They cast the actor John Gavin.
From Psycho.
Yes, you may remember him
Oh.
as Sam Loomis from Psycho.
He was also the ambassador to Mexico under the Reagan administration.
Indeed, he was. He was cast in
Oh,
a
wow.
pay-or-play deal to play James Bond in Diamonds Are Forever.
And Sam
But-
Loomis is also Donald Pleasance, who's also Blofeld.
Ah, it all comes
Wait,
It all
around.
connects.
Wait, but Halloween has Jamie Lee Curtis, who's the daughter of Janet Leigh, who was in Psycho with John Gavin.
Yes.
Ah.
And John Gavin was the ambassador to Mexico, and I'm Mexican. I'm running out of things to say.
It all connects. It's all connecting. Anyway, so David Picker, who was the head of United Artists, became head of United Artists officially. He was always there at United Artists from when the Bond movies started, but he became head, and he was really fighting for Connery to come back as Bond. And he told the producers, you need to get Connery back, whatever it takes. Well, they asked his friend Stanley Stopel to meet with Connery and his agent to come back to the role. They gave him the terms. They're like, all right, you got to get him to come back. Nothing came of that deal, but Stanley Stopel bought a used Mercedes from Connery that meeting.
Some business was accomplished.
So some business was accomplished, but not the one they were looking for.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like all this effort to get Sean Connery at this point, it's like stealing pants from a hobo.
Wait, who's the hobo in this situation, Jan? Is it the Broccolis or is it
Sean Connery.
Really? I think Sean Connery has the pen.
So anyway, next order of business are like, well, that didn't work. They sent Ursula Andress, who was friends with Sean, to discuss the terms of the deal. They're like, and she's like, please, Sean, here, they asked me to make a deal with you. And he said, no, thanks. Okay. Then David Picker was like, fuck it, I am doing it myself. And he went over to meet Sean Connery personally, and this is the deal he offered him. He was like, I will give you $1.25 million plus 10% of the gross and $145,000 a week if the film ran over schedule. And Connery's like, give me a week to think about it. And he thought about it, and he was just like, yeah, sure, fuck it, I'll do it. And he donated all of that money to the Scottish International Educational Trust, which he was planning to set up, which was like a fund for like to entice Scottish writers, artists, painters, to create stuff in Scotland.
Oh, that's nice.
Because, Sean Connery loved doing stuff and spending his money in Scotland.
Yes. And
he never would flee to the Bahamas.
And for people who don't believe that, his friend Stanley Sopel, you may remember him 3 minutes earlier, who tried to coerce him to become Bond again, and he ended up buying a Mercedes from him. He said, Sean got no money for the picture at all. He donated the whole thing. That is an absolute fact. Some people don't believe that's true, but I'm here to tell you it is true. Sean gave all the money away.
Aw.
Wow.
It's almost like a certain legacy sequel that recently came out in whatever year this is that we heard about.
What was that? Halloween Kills? That looks awesome.
Yeah, I
Evil
like the
Dies
first one.
Tonight.
I'm sure the 2 sequels would be...
David Gordon Green's got nowhere to go but up.
I know. I bet you anything he's not going to shit the bed 3 times in a row.
that would be embarrassing. So, do you think, it's very nice that he did this whole thing for Scotland, but one part of me thinks that he just made all this money to then piss it away just to spite Neil and not giving him $50.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. There were multiple moments in Diamonds Are Forever where Sean Connery talks about how his brother dying with a little smile on his face.
I was just noticing that, and actually my girlfriend pointed it out. She's like, wait a second, he made a crack about his brother. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Sean put that in the script.
Oh yeah.
So shall we get into the movie proper?
I do want to say, we've spent a lot of time talking about this, and it is very funny that all this time and effort went into trying to relaunch James Bond for the 70s, and they just make a Sean Connery movie where he fights Blofeld.
A lesser Sean Connery movie where he fights Blofeld. Oh, apparently Connery loved the script. He loved the script and thought it was hilarious, and he got along well with Tom Mankiewicz.
That explains Never Say Never Again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Connery's tastes. He's just like, you know what? I need something funny. I'm glad we're making a funny movie.
Yeah.
This is a funnier Bond movie than we've had before.
This is quite the romp. What if an elephant came in and then it won the jackpot and the elephant went, ooh, that would be funny. Sure, Sean,
and
whatever.
on the slot machine, it's all elephants on the slot machine because he's an elephant.
Right.
And the elephant acknowledges it. The elephant's away.
Okay, Sean, give me the scotch, please.
You're done.
So I guess the first thing that we should get out of the way is that between 1967 and 1971, Sean Connery aged 25 years.
Oh my God, he looks so old.
He looks like shit.
I don't know what they were thinking, because I don't know. He just looks like he just rolled out of bed. They gave him the worst toupee. He's graying at the temples. His eyebrows are all fucked up and overgrown.
Yeah.
And he just looks like just this dirty fucking hobo that probably smells of cheap scotch and cigarettes.
In the first scene with him and M together, we noted, what was it, From Russia with Love or Goldfinger, that they had a student and headmaster relationship. Now it's it's
peers.
The two, they're peers. They are both equally old.
I've never seen someone, instead of two people aging at the same time, it's like one of them catches up to the other one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And all within the span of 5 years?
Yeah.
Less? 4 years?
This was the first James Bond movie with Sean Connery that I ever saw.
Oh, God.
When I was 5 years old. And I remember thinking, this James Bond fucking sucks. Because I was used to Pierce Brosnan. And I was like, that guy's awesome. And then this guy who looks like
the smelly man that probably reeks of cheese.
Yeah, it looks like your dad had a few too many pina coladas at the beach. It's just gambling in Vegas. It's the uncoolest thing ever.
Well, it's kind of insane. So you have the last movie, you have Honor Majesty's Secret Service, which ends with Bond's wife being shot. And the opening of this movie is kind of a tip of the hat. Like, it's a continuation of that, or it could not be.
It could also be a continuation of You Only Live Twice, because the hunt for Blofeld.
Well, he's hunting for Blofeld, and we see him first in Japan, don't we?
Yeah, so that they're like trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're like, it could be a continuation of the last one, or you could just ignore the last one and pretend.
But if you view it as a sequel to Honor Majesty's Secret Service, I kind of think it fits. If you're looking at it from like that meta-textual commentary that we were talking about in the last episode.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
it's sad.
This is a promising new beginning for Honor Majesty's Secret Service. But now we got to get back to business. And what better way to show that it's back to business, but now it's like a grotesque version of what you liked before, where it's even more trashy, it's more the same thing, and now it's a fucking tragedy. Because you're looking at Connery, and now he's become Connery again, from Lazenby to Connery, and he looks so gross and disheveled, but he's doing the same things. You're like, oh my God.
Yes, it communicates that James Bond has become even more alcoholic and has just developed some sort of food addiction since Tracy's. And yeah, this is basically just like Goldfinger's evil twin brother. It's like they look alike, but there's something wrong. Like, it doesn't...
No.
And like all the lines are ADR'd. Like at the first, he's like, "Where's Blofeld?" And he's like oddly cheery, but he's like killing people, strangling women with their own bra.
No, he's violent with everybody. He's extremely violent.
Oh yeah, my favorite ADR from that scene is the guy that goes, Cairo.
Oh yeah, it doesn't even match the mouth.
No.
It's just like,
it's all slapped together.
It just seemed like he was screaming, and in post they were like, shouldn't he say something here?
What if there was a line that he said that leads him to the next scene?
Yeah, brilliant.
I do like that the first time you see the Cairo guy, he's like, hit me. And then Connery punches him in the face.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I do like all those sets. Like, how do we communicate that it's Cairo? Well, he's wearing a fez. Like, yeah.
We got to do some visual shorthand.
But then, Sean Connery shows up. He's like, okay, he doesn't look great, but maybe he still has that James Bond thing. And the first thing to come out of his mouth is,
"My name is Bond. James Bond."
And you're like, what the fuck?
And it's weirdly sped up. Did you, like, this has driven me crazy since I was a kid.
And in the trailer, it sounds fine.
"My name is Bond. James Bond."
In the trailer, it's fine, but then in the movie, it's like, "My name is Bond. James Bond."
"My name is Bond. James Bond."
It's the worst James Bond in any of these movies.
I think they probably pulled him into ADR and he couldn't get the lip reading like just right.
They pulled him into ADR and he punched the sound guy and he punched the microphone.
Connery's back, baby.
They had to get that phrase from other movies. So like, "My name is Bond, James Bond."
It's a YouTube poop.
Yeah. This whole movie feels like a YouTube poop.
It does. And I mean that in the best possible way.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah, this is my hot take. I enjoy Diamonds Are Forever.
It is one of those movies where it really depends on your mood, on how much you're going to enjoy it. Because by all intents and purposes, it's a letdown. But we'll get into it. So we're introduced to Blofeld, and he has now gotten plastic surgery, not only for himself, but for other doubles to disguise.
Is Blofeld even in charge of... Do they say the word Spectre
No.
at all in this movie? Or is it just Blofeld just on his own without his company?
I don't think they use Spectre at all.
I think Blofeld's gone rogue.
Yeah.
Disavow.
Well, now he's just like completely butt fucking sane. and he's now Charles Gray, who played Henderson in You Only Live Twice. And I don't know about you guys, but
I love him.
I used to not like Charles Gray. I think I love him now. He's my favorite Blofeld.
Oh, he's so much fun.
It's my favorite part of the movie, without a doubt. He's having so much fun. He's the Diana Rigg of this movie. He's like just a beam of light.
Fun fact, you know who they asked to play Blofeld?
Oh, who?
Michael Gambon.
Oh,
How did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
he's asked calmly.
But he said he wasn't too poor of health to be up to play Blofeld.
I would have loved just an unhinged, insane Blofeld. Well, we kind of got that with
Yeah,
this
I mean, we
movie,
got
but
it
just,
either way.
Just imagine Michael Gambon just like, Mr. Bond, did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
I don't want some bloke fingering my wife about
Georgina. Is this the first movie where we hear the phrase "Good evening, Mr. Bond"?
Good evening, Mr. Bond.
Are we sure Goldfinger never said that?
Maybe.
I think it's from this movie. Which
I'm gonna
is,
look
like,
this up.
weird. It's like the quintessential villain phrase for James Bond, and it's in this
Good evening,
this
Mr.
movie
Bond.
that feels more like a weird parody.
According to Google, it's Queen Elizabeth, but that doesn't make sense.
What?
What?
The Queen insisted on delivering the classic line, "Good evening, Mr. Bond." What the
Well, yeah, at the Olympics. But
yeah, I
she's
know.
not-
Who
she
said
didn't-
it first? I'm
She didn't
Googling.
invent-
Goldfinger. No, wait, no? Huh.
Oh yeah, we have to review the Olympics.
Oh, Goldfinger does say good night,
Yeah, he
Mr.
says
Bond.
good night, Mr. Bond.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Uh,
the classic thing is.
but I don't know
good
if there's a
evening.
good evening.
Okay, but there's mud.
Yeah, and they actually used mashed potatoes for the
Delightful.
mud, and apparently it smelt really, really bad on set, and that poor stuntman had to be caked in it. At the first Blofeld double, who doesn't have his face yet.
Because Charles Gray goes in, and then a different guy comes out, right? Or did I see it wrong?
Well, they don't show the guy's face. There's just mud being caked over someone's face. Well, and even beforehand, there's so much mud over his face, and the only way that you know that it's Blofeld is because the previous shot ends with Blofeld's face. So you're thinking. So it fooled you.
Okay. Well, okay. But with that and just, yeah, I mean, I went in hearing not great things from you, Jake. But look, they reach into his pocket to frisk him, and he's got a mousetrap.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And then he puts the guy in the mashed potatoes, and he says, "Welcome to hell, Blofeld."
Yes!
Yeah.
Welcome to hell, Blofeld.
Welcome to hell,
And
Blofeld.
he says it with the most Scottish "Welcome to hell, Blofeld." Like,
And he's so
this,
happy.
This is when we've talked about how he gets more progressively Scottish with every movie. I feel like this is the first one where like he's fully embraced his
I
Sean
agree.
Connery voice.
You're the man now, dog.
Well, yeah, because only in the previous movie do they canonize his Scottishness.
Yeah.
And this movie, I think, is when Sean Connery basically, and he does this in Never Say Never Again too. He's like, "I'm James Bond. James Bond is me. I don't have to do shit. I'm just Sean Connery to the max."
You're the man now, dog.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah, he's just being himself.
We did forget to mention one of Blofeld's other best lines of the movie, where after he's killed the double in the mud bath, and Bond is wiping the mud off his hands, and then you hear, "Making mud pies, 007."
Well, yeah, I wrote down a few, but there are some pretty funny lines in this movie, and then there are some really weird jokes that are just almost Casino Royale level of what did they mean by that?
The whole movie feels like a really weird joke.
Yeah,
it does.
But I have to love that we're starting off with "Welcome to Hell," as in James Bond is already living in hell.
No, again, the meta commentary. James Bond is at his peak James Bond after Tracy dies, and Blofeld is at his peak prankster self, and they're just like two dudes at the office, like Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner.
Yeah, exactly. He finally catches him. So we have that catharsis from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, if you're counting that one. That is done for now.
For now.
And then we cut to Blofeld's cat. That goes, meow! And then we go to opening credits that are...
Diamonds are forever.
Again, it's a Shirley Bassey song. They're trying
One
to
of
make
her best,
it.
actually.
Yeah,
Diamonds
I
Are
mean,
Forever is an
it's
amazing song.
I thought this was pretty good, actually. Yeah.
it's a good song.
I think it's okay. I mean, it's good. It's derivative is my issue.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like all her other shit.
No!
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Okay,
Yeah.
I was thinking Paul was going to come in with the hot take of like, I think Diamonds Are Forever is bad. But now Troy and Jen, you guys are coming in with the hot takes. This song is objectively one of the best.
I like Moonraker more.
Just like the moonraker goes.
Oh, I can't go where you are.
No, absolutely
Diamonds
not.
Are
Moonraker is
Forever.
the best Shirley Bassey James Bond.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Just
Diamonds Are
like the
Forever has sexual
Moonraker
puns. It's fucking great, and Shirley Bassey sings the fucking shit out of it.
I
How
like.
could you not like a song with the line, what is it?
Jake, you're not building your case here.
I'm not building a case here. I just
How
forgot
could
the
you
lyrics.
not like
to
the
song.
line?
Fuck it. I don't fuck.
Hold up one of them and caress it, touch it and stroke it and undress it.
No,
That
I
is-
mean, I like all the sex stuff.
Yeah. It's fun, but it's tacky. Like this movie.
It's great. That's what Bond is. The Bond songs are often great when they border that line of tacky, but they're sung well.
Again, it just makes it feel to me like, oh, this is Goldfinger's evil twin brother, where like everything's the same but different.
And it's interesting because the credits themselves, like we talked about how On Her Majesty's Secret Service looks like how you would expect a Bond opening to look at with the silhouettes and Bond firing guns and stuff. But this one goes back to the From Russia with Love Goldfinger of these are real people.
And it's
I don't mind
Maurice
that.
Bender.
Stuff.
I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't.
No,
I
it
don't
looks
like
good.
the credits as much. I kind of think this is kind of like one of the Maurice Bender title sequences where he's just kind of like, "All right, I have a day in a soundstage with some nude models. Let's get the cat in there." And it kind of looks janky.
I mainly like that there's a cat and that it has a necklace
Of diamonds.
Yeah, maybe that is my hot take. That I think I already pissed everybody off last time with trashing the On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
And You Only Live Twice.
Visual design. No, the Only Live Twice looks good. I feel like the song is kind of whatever.
Boo!
Boo.
This one, I think.
All right, Paul.
both-
Back to
they're both
piling on Paul.
fine.
Boo.
Boo, Paul,
That's
fired.
right.
You're not
Fired
even in
once
the
again.
logo for this podcast.
I'm taking the bullet for Troy here. But no, I think the cat looks kind of fun,
Oh no, I love the cat. I'm actually with Paul on the cat.
and it's just simpler. It's just conceptually simpler than whatever was going on in the last title sequence with the cutouts and shit.
Oh.
I kind of want to see one of these Maurice Binder title sequences with nude models, but instead of hot women, they're just like really fat men like dancing and flapping around.
Like a Sean Connery.
Yeah, like a Sean Connery.
I was gonna say, you see a lot of there's a lot more nudity. Like, that's the thing. The James Bond movie never does like full frontal, but there's a lot more nudity in this.
There's
one.
a lot of skin on
Yeah.
Connery in this one.
The 70s hit this movie like a ton of bricks. Like, there's no... This is like one of those movies where you see that there was no smooth transition from the 60s to the 70s. It's just like the 70s happened and boom. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Everyone started dressing weird. Everyone has sideburns.
Everything looks dirty and gross and grotesque.
And as the title sequence lays out, all of this is the perfect match for Mr. Guy Hamilton.
Guy Hamilton's back.
Yeah.
His TV movie aesthetic is back.
Yes.
Yeah. No more beautiful looking vistas.
Oh, especially when you're going from On Her Majesty's Secret Service and then you come back to this, because this is still shot in Panavision. It somehow looks like a TV movie.
Yeah.
Like, the past couple Bond movies have gotten better with their visual designs. You had, Freddie Young doing You Only Live Twice, and you have, what's his name doing On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And like and Thunderball even looked good with Ted Moore. And then Ted Moore's back for this movie and it looks like shit. And it's still shot in Panavision.
Mysterious.
But it's such evocative surroundings, such bizarre choices.
It doesn't look like Panavision. It looks like spherical lenses, but with like fake bars put on the top and bottom.
It's true.
There you go.
And so we're out of the title sequence, and we get to M talking about diamonds to Bond, and this is our first indication that Connery does not want to be here at all. Apparently on set they were saying Connery was a professional and he did his job, but you would not get the sense from watching the movie itself, and especially this scene, because he's supposed to play bored, but we know he's actually bored.
And also Bernard Lee does not look like happy to see him. He's like, oh, you're back from your vacation. Well, got Blofeld, you want to do work? He's walking around on his Kermit legs. Apparently Bernard Lee was a hopeless alcoholic. So there's like a joke like, my liver.
Well, this is what I was going to say. I mean, they're age-wise, it looks like two old professors, you know. How's it been, old chap? But Sean's not looking great. But honestly, M, I mean, he looks okay, but I don't know what they did to the makeup on him, or maybe it was the alcohol or whatever you're talking about, Jake. I'm like, M's makeup, he looks like a cadaver. He looks like they're painting rouge on him to make him look more alive. Like,
it's My Weekend at Bernie's with,
he looks
with Bernard Lee.
He looks embalmed.
In my notes, I have he looks like the creepy guy in the chair from The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
And some don't even wear their skin.
It looks like a weird mortician.
So they're at this diamond company, and they're greeted by some man who does not sound like a normal human being at all, with like, yes, we put in more precautions, and we have loyal workers, and
Bond gets to ramble about alcohol for a while.
Oh yeah, he talks about the vintage of the sherry from what it was based on. It's a 51. Sherry doesn't have a year, but he's like, I was talking about the vintage of what the sherry is based on.
Notice how now that Lazenby's gone, they're back to referring to Bond as intelligent again.
Yes.
Yes, they're like, oh yeah, you know things now.
Yeah. Now he's not just like a human, like golden retriever, just like mindlessly sniffing.
He's
people.
not a himbo.
Not a himbo anymore. Now he's a very old, angry man.
I gotta say, despite his smarts, I can tell why Sean Connery looks so bored and checked out, because that M debriefing scene goes on for fucking ever. And then they cut to another scene, and then they come back and he's still briefing Bond.
You know what's even weirder? The guy keeps repeating the same thing over and over and over again.
It's fucking torture.
This is the only debriefing scene where we actually get cutaways to what like they're talking about. Like, oh, you know how diamonds are made? And it like cuts away to that. And I'm like, that's interesting.
No, I mean, it is, but do we really need to see it? Isn't it more economical if M is just like, James Bond, there's this thing happening, go to this thing, and then we just do the thing?
Look, Guy Hamilton got a lot of money. He had a lot of money he needed to launder.
We have to be introduced to our first gay couple in a Bond movie.
Yes, progress. Yeah. I bet they'll be respectfully depicted.
The 70s are here.
The 70s are indeed
They're
here.
hitting it like a ton of bricks.
Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd.
It was only until this time that I saw them that I was like, wait a minute. These guys are in The Kids Next Door.
Yes!
It's that pesky boy again, Mr. Wink.
They were the inspiration for those villains and codenamed The Kids Next Door. Much like how Tom Jones' Thunderball was the inspiration for Duck Dodgers using Tom Jones.
Oh, you should. I do have a behind-the-scenes tidbit. So, we got Putter Smith and Bruce Glover as Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd. Guy Hamilton actually saw Putter Smith at a jazz club, and he was playing with Thelonious Monk. And Putter Smith, I guess, was also a musician that worked on a bunch of like famous albums, like "You Lost That Love and Feeling" by the Righteous Brothers, whole bunch of shit. But Guy Hamilton was like, "You are perfect as this villain in Diamonds Are Forever."
Is he the guy with the mustache?
Yes, Mr. Kid.
Because I was gonna say he's the least threatening looking motherfucker I've ever seen.
He looks like a guy that you would find in like a Volkswagen in 1968.
He does unnerve me though. I will say, like, I do shudder whenever I see him because he has like hair, but he's bald. And like it's weird to me, much like Sean Connery.
The most unsettling part is that hair, those whatever that bowl cut fucking bangs, you know.
It looks like a college professor caught in the middle of a sex scandal.
But you know who was supposed to play Mr. Went? Yeah, it was.
So Potter Smith actually tested with this actor who was supposed to play Mr. Went. It was supposed to be Paul Williams.
Someday we'll find it.
Oh, that Paul Williams.
Rainbow Connection.
The Phantom of the Paradise.
As I live my role, I swore I'd sell my soul for one love.
I'm trying to imagine him like fighting James Bond. Like James Bond just like holds him up and like it's over.
Yeah.
But in the movie, he is played by Bruce Glover. And you know who Bruce Glover is?
Who?
The father of Crispin.
God, I'm horny.
They do look alike.
Oh.
They
look alike, yeah.
Yeah, they actually look exactly the same now that I
Wait, actually, yeah, now that you point out. These two are so weird. They're very homophobic, but also they're such strange James Bond villains in and of themselves. The little comments, the little politeness, like it's just so
I kind of enjoy it.
No, I kind of enjoy them too.
What's the most homophobic thing to happen in this movie? The fact that one of them gets incinerated.
No, I guess it's just like this is the first gay representation except for that one night James Bond and M had in Tokyo. Like,
yeah, exactly.
The Bond franchise.
And then look what happened to M.
Well, we also had Rosa Klebb.
Oh yeah, we also had Rosa Klebb.
We had
the
genealogist from On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
If you count Casino Royale, you have the Taylor.
You have the Taylor, exactly.
You
have Pussy Galore.
Oh no. Technically Jill Masterson was also gay, but they never brought that up
in the book.
movie.
Yeah.
So this is just homophobic. It's not even like
basically it's very
it's not,
very homophobic.
But it is weird how like they're very blatant about it. They're like holding hands. They're like women aren't attractive.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you have Mr. Wentz getting jealous of Mr. Kid, going like, "That Tiffany case is quite attractive," and he just gives him like the dirty look, and he's like, "Well, if you're into that sort of thing,
for a woman."
For a woman, yeah, no, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But yeah, I mean, I guess they're weird, but I guess they work. They're definitely the most memorable henchmen, along with like Oddjob and Jaws.
They stick in your mind, just their monotone voice.
Oh yeah, they're creepy.
And just like how dry they are. They have a pun after like every single moment, like, curious, everyone seems to touch those diamonds seems to die.
I want to imagine like what people in the 70s reacted to in the theaters with their first scene when shortly after murdering someone in cold blood, they just like skip away holding hands. Like, were they like, what?
Oh, actually, when they first did the scene, because they killed the dentist by putting a scorpion down his back. Originally, they were going to shove the scorpion into his mouth and kill him that way. But then they're like, no, it's too violent. Why don't we just put it down his back? And I'm like, and they have the footage. I was watching the behind the scenes doc last night, and there is the footage of them shoving the scorpion in his mouth, and it's pretty cool.
It's pretty funny how just the face he makes when the scorpion bites him.
Just.
I like how they said that's too violent, the movie, after they like threw a guy in like a shredder.
Well, this is also after Bond uses a mousetrap in his coat to clip somebody's hand, and there's like blood everywhere.
And he like strangles a woman with her own bra, but no.
Yes, so this is this is already kind of violent, so I'm like, why not just put like a scorpion in his mouth? But it did kind of freak me out as a kid, like the idea of them putting the scorpion down his shirt. I was like, oh, that's kind of creepy.
And of course, in real life, even if a scorpion is deadly, it will take hours to kill you. You won't die instantly. Like
the bigger they are, the worse. If it's a small one, or what was it? No, the bigger they are, the better. What is that from Indiana Jones?
Yeah. When it comes to scorpions, the bigger the better. If a small one bites you, don't keep it to yourself.
Perfect.
It's just a thing. Anyway, so Bond has to ride a hovercraft to Amsterdam. They do nothing with the hovercraft.
Whoa, wait, did we already?
Yeah.
Wait, you already skipped over Moneypenny?
Oh,
well, she's at the checkpoint.
Moneypenny's not even in this movie.
No,
Troy.
no,
Let's
so it's
not-
funny. So apparently Moneypenny was not supposed to be in this movie because Lois Maxwell asked for more money. So Bond is taking over.
This is a normal thing with the Eon producers.
Yeah,
I
so-
want more money. Fuck you. Bye.
So
well, she is Miss Moneypenny. It makes sense that she asked for more money.
She asked for another penny.
Yeah, it makes sense. That is the role. So Bond is taking the place of Peter Franks, this smuggler, this diamond smuggler they've had their eye on to try to figure out where these diamonds are going, I think. And so Moneypenny's at the station. She wears a hat to cover the fact that she had dyed her hair red for another movie. And her scenes were shot on a different day than Sean Connery. They did not interact on set. But, you know...
He was still bitter about the
Still bitter about the you betrayed me.
It feels like he can't even look at her and Bernard Lee in the eyes.
Yeah, like he hates them. He hates them so much for what they did to him. But they're still flirting because Bond's like, "You want me to get you anything from Amsterdam, Moneypenny?" And Moneypenny's like, "I don't know, James. Maybe a ring with a diamond in it." And I was just thinking to myself, how soon do you think after Tracy died did Moneypenny go back to hitting on James Bond?
His wife is barely cold, and she's like, am I next?
No, I was thinking like at the funeral, he's already become Connery again. He's like sobbing next to the casket. And Moneypenny goes, "Oh, James, you've gotten me in a church at last." And he's like, "My wife is dead. Why are you doing this?"
Oh dear, I dropped my handkerchief. She like shows her ass to James.
No.
James,
in front of Tracy's corpse.
I'm right by the altar, James.
Does this turn you on? She starts grinding on Tracy's corpse.
Actually, it kind of does. I'm not gonna lie.
Do I make you horny, babe?
And also, speaking of that movie we just quoted, she probably wants to level up because she's working in a toll booth.
Much like Karen Allen, she's working in a toll booth.
Go back to the toll booth.
So he hops in the hovercraft. They make a whole thing about it. They're like, "Ooh, he's going down the lane for like he's going into Disney World. He's going down the lane for hovercrafts." And then he just is riding on one, and that's it.
And it's just kind of a boat, right?
Yeah.
It's just a
yeah.
boat.
Yeah.
It's just a boat that
It's just a
hovers
thing.
over the water.
And
And then there's the dead old lady because Mr. Wynn and Mr. Kidd
yeah.
are killing off all the people in the diamond smuggling operation. And she's like an old lady who runs an orphanage
in
or something.
Africa, and they like took her, and they like took her all the way to Europe.
No, she was on a trip. She's like, "Oh, I'm excited to go to Amsterdam. I'm going to take wonderful pictures for the kids." And then that is paid off because Mr. Wynn and Mr. Kidd are taking pictures when they're fishing at her corpse from the river. And then she's like, "She did want to have pictures for the children."
Have you seen that very famous behind the scenes picture of this movie of Sean Connery in Amsterdam where he's like waving and it looks like he's waving to a giant crowd or something? But then there's another picture of the reverse of that, and it's like 3 Japanese tourists like taking pictures of it.
Oh, you recognize me.
No one recognizes this old man, you know.
Like no one
Who
cares
is that?
anymore.
That $2 million well spent.
Money well spent, goddammit. And then Kevin McClory would spend even more money to get him even older.
Oh, no. It's 2 bits at the same time.
Weirdly synchronous again with that movie we keep quoting.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another day.
So a good henchman, not a great James Bond, and then we get the Bond girl, which in my opinion is not great.
Tiffany
either.
Case is one of my favorite Bond girls. Very underrated.
What?
Yes, this is why I like Diamonds Are Forever. I think Tiffany Case is spunky. I think Jill St. John brings a fun energy to it. And I don't think she's completely useless. I think she does a lot of good stuff, and she holds herself as an equal to Bond. She's not perfect, but
she is equally incompetent as Bond in this movie.
Yeah,
I'll
she's
say
equally
that.
She's better in the first half of the movie, and then they don't know how to use her in the second half.
She just becomes a bimbo in the second half.
Yeah.
Everyone hates Tiffany Case just because she doesn't know how to fire a gun, okay? But I'd like to see you try to fire a semi-automatic rifle on a slippery oil rig.
I mean, that stuff is like whatever to me. It's just that like they ran out of stuff for her to do because she's the one in charge in the beginning. She's the one who knows about the diamond smuggling operation. She's like putting the flirtations on
Yeah, it's a
Bond
great
to
scene.
figure out where the diamonds are. And she's great in the first half, and then in the second half, she's just like, Q, is there any way for me to not go to jail?
That's fun. That's what I'd be doing in that situation.
That's it.
I would be like, Q, can I not go to jail?
I cannot believe you're saying these things after Diana Rigg.
Oh, fun fact about Jill St. John that may come up later in this podcast. Her future husband was also considered to play James Bond in this movie.
They dodged a bullet there, unlike Natalie Wood. But anyway,
I sure hope the idea of a Wood sister drowning doesn't come up again in this review.
Well, anyways. But yeah, I don't share the enthusiasm for Jill St. John.
She has so many different wigs.
So does Sean Connery. I'm not very enthusiastic about him in this
These
movie.
two belong together. Sean Connery, washed up Sean Connery, James Bond, and Jill St. John, Tiffany Case, match made in heaven.
I don't know, I just think
So
she's bland.
he meets up with Jill St. John, who's Tiffany Case, and she keeps going in and out of her bedroom with different wigs as she's testing.
Much
to
like
see
Casino
if the
Royale.
fingerprints match. Much like Casino Royale. And you're like, oh
She
no,
comes out
Bond
in a
is-
Hitler outfit.
He comes out in a Hitler outfit.
And Sean Connery's like, I'll still do it. Like, he gets
What am I going to do?
I'm much preferential to Italian dictators, but Germans will do.
Might as well.
So she tests his fingertips.
Yes.
I guess she gets a false result or whatever.
No, this is explained in the next scene because he passes the fingertip test and then he's on the phone with Q and he takes off the rubber fingertips that Q gave him and he's like, I got to hand it to you, Q. Quite ingenious.
Do we think that at this point in the series, the Broccoli's were kind of embarrassed by the gadgets and Q? Because they're
they
not
were
really an Honor
embarrassed by
Majesty's Secret
everything
Service.
associated with these movies.
Like, the gadgets aren't important in Honor Majesty's Secret Service. I don't think there are any. Then in this one, I think it's just the fingertip and maybe the gun.
The
later.
grapple gun.
The grapple gun.
And then the spike gun.
And then in Live and Let Die,
I guess
he's
if
not
you
in the
count
movie.
that like lunar vehicle.
Yeah, but that's not a Q branch invention. That's at Willard White's Tektronix.
No, that's just some shit he sold.
Yeah.
Oh no. The other one that I wrote down was Q does. Well, I think because Guy Hamilton is all in on gadgets, or at least he was in Goldfinger.
Yeah, he's the one who invented the dichotomy between Q and Bond.
The one that the other one that I did note, the voice changing box that Bond uses later on. That's a Q original. And I noted that in both cases, which is weird and different, is that we find out that it's a Q gadget after he's used it. That's
and he's like, I invented it for my kids for Christmas.
Yeah.
And then, he also has a ring that makes him win at the slots.
Yeah, he gambles in this movie. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, Bond won't use enough of his gadgets, so Q's just like stealing from the casinos.
If I was directing this movie, I would have had a post-credit scene of everyone gone in the casino at like 3 a.m. and Q just still going at the slot machine.
And then they take him into the back like in casino and they beat his hand with a hammer.
And then suddenly the elephant, like an elephant runs in and Q hops on the elephant and they run away with their winnings.
Yeah, that should have been the post-credits scene. Is like, the back alley, and they just throw Q out of the.
And the elephant is there.
And the elephant stomps on him.
No, or
yeah.
like that should be the post credits of The World Is Not Enough after Q does his like disappearing act. They reveal that he just went to the casino to play slots.
he has a trap door that drops him off in the middle of Las Vegas.
Into the casino.
There you go.
Another good line. When Bond meets Tiffany Case, and she's like, "My mom was at a Tiffany's when she was pregnant with me, so she named me after Tiffany."
Stupid. I love
it's
it.
Better than Von Cleef and Arpels.
Stupid. I love it.
Yeah, that's the comedy caliber we're working with here.
That's mildly amusing. You see, the best parts of these movies, well, this movie specifically, that's the most I can say. I'm like, that's mildly amusing, but I'm not really like laughing or I'm not excited. It's just sort of. It makes like half of my it makes my nose exhale, that like
Yes.
Yeah.
This
is a smile and nod kind of movie.
It's a movie that makes you feel like you're drunk.
Yeah.
Without actually drinking. You're having a good time as you're watching it.
You know what it is? Ironically, I think it is a lot like a weekend in Vegas where you really planned it out on an itinerary. It's like, look at all this crazy stuff. All right, on to something else. We're doing it. Fun.
Yeah, no, and it is like one of those times when you get drunk and you're like, oh, we're back, we're gonna get litty, and then you just end up falling asleep to a Lord of the Rings Power Hour video.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that differentiates it from like Die Another Day, which is like, this has gotten wildly out of control. I don't know what we're doing anymore.
Yeah. No, Die Another Day is definitely the better version of this kind of Bond movie.
No, for sure, because I feel like this movie has a lot of fans that say it's like, oh, it's so camp, and it's like, yeah, but it's kind of like the dry, boring, kind of confusing kind
of. It feels like you're at a dirty burlesque show.
Yeah.
In Vegas.
If I may say something, yes, it's camp. Yes, it's dirty burlesque, and that's why it's fun. It's just like, yeah, we're back for trash, baby.
I'm the trash man.
Yes, exactly.
On.
No, James Bond is back to being not real movies. It's just like absolute garbage.
Good.
I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage.
Okay, so we're back at the movie. So Q goes like, "Oh, that Peter Franks guy got let go from the border," and then he's like, "Hello," and it cuts back to Bond's room, and he's gone. And then we get my favorite Sean Connery moment in all these movies. Peter Franks goes up to Tiffany Case's apartment. Camera pans over, a couple making out. It isn't actually a couple making out. It is Connery with his arms around himself, pretending he's making out with somebody.
See, that's the trash we love.
It's the trash, isn't it?
It's the sweet, sweet trash.
Yes.
Yes,
That's it.
and it gets even better. This is like Connery at his peak. Weirdly, in his most divorced, bored moment, I feel like he's trying some new things here.
Yes.
He comes up to Franks at the door and pretends to be a Dutchman with a Dutch accent going like, "Guten Tag, you speak English, I speak English. Who is your floor?"
You are English, I speak English. Who is your floor?
Who is
It's
your
amazing.
floor? But he still has a Scottish. He's like, who is your floor?
Yeah, no, he's so committed to playing this Bond disguise himself as a regular Dutchman.
Wait. Okay, now I haven't seen every Sean
Charming.
Connery movie, but is this the only Sean Connery movie where he actually does attempt to do an accent that is not his
I
own?
think so.
No, well, yeah, and you only live twice. You only have that one line where he's like, "Arigato gozaimasu."
Which it wasn't even an attempt.
Because, like, he didn't try to do a Spanish accent for Highlander, but to be a Dutch guy in one scene of Diamonds Are Forever, he's like, "I won't let you down, guy. I'm going to do it."
Well, what would be funny is if we discovered that Sean Connery wasn't Scottish and it was all just like a lifelong prank.
That's what I thought was happening in OK Connery. I thought Neil Connery was using his real voice, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, has he been putting it on?
But no, honestly, and maybe this is a hot take too, I feel like he is actually like, on average across the movie, he's like 10% more awake in this than he is in You Only Live Twice.
I actually would agree with that.
You get the accent, and then you get straight into the elevator fight, which is pretty good.
It's pretty good, and it doesn't feel like it should be in this movie at all, because the rest of the movie is like this fun, campy romp, and you have this legitimately kind of gritty, brutal fight in an elevator.
I don't like Casino Royale
like
2006.
the sequel to the From Russia with Love, battle, right? And he almost gets decapitated.
Yeah, I agree. Like, he's about to punch him the first time, but he overextends his elbow and knocks out the glass, and the guy turns around and realizes.
Cool. Especially, it's hard to film
great.
fight scenes in tight spaces like that. So I got to give credit to notorious hack Guy Hamilton.
Yeah, and even with Guy Hamilton's, he's not the most dexterous with the camera.
But I will disagree with you, Paul. I don't think he's more awake in this movie. I think he's more drunk in this movie.
Actually, I agree with that somewhat. That's what I'm saying. He's like so bored that he's just kind of fucking around, and those by accident end up being highlights of the movie.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the kissing thing was his idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we're getting to the part where Connery, much like Daniel Craig, gets input on the movies. But while Craig tried to make the movies more like real movies, Connery's like, this is a fucking joke. I'm just
a farce.
He brought in the elephant into set.
Yeah, that's his elephant.
What if there was a woman and she turned into a gorilla? And then all the kids get scared.
All right, I do have a sad thing to bring out, that apparently the woman that turned into a gorilla is actually one of the few things that is actually in Ian Fleming's novel Diamonds Are Forever. That's a Fleming idea.
Oh no.
Yep, that was in the novel.
And the fact that it's a black woman makes it all the more uncomfortable.
If it's horrifically racist, it's because you gave an Ian Fleming novel to Guy Hamilton and he filmed it.
Yep.
What the fuck is that scene even?
I
don't know.
We'll get to that scene. That whole scene is like a nightmare. I don't know what's going on.
All right, yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it, but we got to get to the second best moment of the entire movie, where he kills Peter Franks and he switches his IDs, and Jill St. John is like, looks in at his ID and goes like, and finds his Playboy Club membership.
That is awesome. That is,
and it
like,
says,
okay,
James Bond.
Guy Hamilton understands James Bond. He knows what kind of character this is.
Yes. No, he is. And she finds the Playboy Club membership and exclaims, "Oh my God! You just killed James Bond!"
My God, you just killed James Bond.
And my second favorite moment of the entire movie is the way the way it is performed, the timing, just from when Sean Connery looks over and he walks towards and the camera's following him, and he goes like, "Is that who it was?"
Is that who it was?
He says it so sincerely.
He says it with like a high-pitched, like baby girl voice. Like,
that's the best acting I've seen from him in all of these movies. It's so funny.
He sounds like Mark Wahlberg in The Happening. Just like, what? No.
What? No.
Yeah.
He sells it so hard.
Is that what it was?
Is that what it was?
But also, this does tie into the idea that, yes, everyone knows who James Bond is in these movies by now.
At least these original ones,
agent.
indeed. Yes.
James Bond is the worst spy ever because everyone knows who he is. They just don't know what he looks like, apparently.
Yeah, because he keeps changing from George Lazenby to Connery again.
Yeah.
And then maybe David Niven or Terrence Cooper or Woody Allen.
Or Ursula Andress or Peter Sellers.
He changed from Sean Connery to George Lazenby to your weird drunk uncle who you don't invite to Thanksgiving dinner because he's too touchy.
Well, he's your weird drunk uncle who says very problematic things unannounced at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Look, I'm coming to Thanksgiving for only 15 minutes. I've got to go to the Playboy Club and yell about the cherry or whatever I do with my life.
Sean Connery just goes to Thanksgiving and with his nephews, he's like, do you want to see my Playboy membership? Don't get near Uncle Sean.
Neil's like, don't get near your Uncle Sean. He owes me $50. I'm never going to pay you, you hack.
Doesn't matter how many millions he gets. He ain't paying.
I gave it all to Scotland. Nothing for you, Neil.
He'd rather give it to Scotland than his own brother.
I hope you're a fucking education, you plumber.
But, okay, so somehow, I don't fully understand the machinations, but he's trying to infiltrate the diamond smuggling thing. So he's like, I have to pretend, now that I've pretended that this is James Bond, I have to pretend that this is my brother and go to LAX.
Yes.
Because he's going to shove there was a deleted scene where it's revealed he put the diamonds up Peter's butt. And
Why
that's
did they
how
cut
he
that
smuggled
out?
them.
Elementary, my dear lighter.
Elementary!
Elementary. Shoves it deep within that elementary canal.
Yeah. You know, the necrophilia discussion from last week would have served this episode well.
Is it even... It might not even be in the episode. Right
No!
Much like Diamonds Are Forever, we refer to deleted scenes that provide important context that we determined you should never see.
It was such a good gag, me giving Troy a dead grandma for every day of Hanukkah.
I still don't...
Why, Jan?
I still don't fully understand that one. So, I'm already... In one
he meets with
scene,
Felix, who's a completely different guy now, who looks nothing like the past three Felixes.
Norman Burton is like the nerdiest Felix, like the middle manager Felix that they've ever hired.
He looks like Archie Bunker, and then Bond gets.
He looks like a handsome Dennis Franz.
A little bit.
Yeah, he's like a character from The Office.
Yeah, and then he gets in a hearse with the Blues Brothers. And they go to
with the mafia.
Fucking and then they include a scene of him just chatting with them. I guess that was an important scene.
Yeah, well, because everyone's talking to Sean about, "Are you sad your brother's dead?" And Sean Connery, not James Bond, Sean Connery is like, no.
There's a scene even when they're like, "Do you want to sit in front? It's more comfortable in the front." And Sean Connery goes, "Yes, I think I will sit in the front." And I'm like, this is padding.
One of those guys that picks him up from the airport is Sid Haig.
Oh.
Sid Haig?
Sid Haig from House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, horror movie icon. He's the guy who goes like, "I have a brother."
I like how any line from this movie just said out of context is just like, what?
The beautiful dialogue of Mankiewicz.
Mankiewicz, pure Mank.
He carried on the Mank tradition of creating some of the most carefully crafted screenplays ever.
Between Citizen Kane
All About
and Ben
Eve,
Mankiewicz on the Young
his father
Turks,
did All
this is
About
the
Eve.
missing...
Oh, shit.
Wait. Oh, my shit.
We lost Paul.
What did we say that offended?
Did we... I can't believe we joked about Citizen Kane and Paul.
So what happened, dear audience, is that we started making fun of Citizen Kane, and Paul left.
I'm back.
Now he's back, and he has a machine gun. Paul, no! No!
Stop it!
No!
I got my gun,
Paul!
and I'm not afraid to use it on myself. I would rather shoot myself than be shot by you.
Jake has a gun!
I have a gun.
Paul said calmly.
Yeah. He's gonna kill us like Smersh killed Orson Welles.
Pop out of the computer.
So where were we?
Mm.
Some real goofy shit happens in a funeral home.
Yeah,
yes. But let's describe the goofy shit.
This is the part where Guy Hamilton, again, tries to recapture the magic of Goldfinger by having a similar scene to the laser scene with the coffin, and it does not work at all.
It doesn't even really make sense.
You don't feel any tension. He doesn't get out of it in any clever way.
No, they just pull him out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's part of the cartoon logic, but I'm like, I don't think they cremate people in like full like wood coffins. I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, sometimes they do. It depends on the place.
Sometimes, but
Troy
the thing
has
is, like,
a lot of experience with this. See our deleted scene from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Troy knows a lot about.
Look, guys, if you got to go to where the bodies are.
Only for our Patreons, you can listen to our necrophilia jokes.
Wait, okay, to describe this scene, Bond is taken into with Peter Franks, and they don't even take the diamonds. Like, I don't know if it's part of the process where they take the diamonds out of his coffin, but then Bond's wandering around, and then our pride representation, Wint and friend.
Wint and Kid.
Knocking out.
God, that should have been my Pride Month profile picture.
Your banner.
Or banner. They knock Bond out. They put him in a coffin. They push him down to get cremated while making little jokes. You see the jets go. Sean Connery is mildly annoyed in his brightly lit coffin. And then he just gets pulled out by Felix, I think?
No, by Shady Acres, or Shady Tree.
Oh, no, Shady Tree and Mr. Slumber.
The weird old school comedian who hasn't changed his act in 40 years.
Yes, which made me think when we get to that. I'm like, wow, 40 years.
I do like his first line. He opens the coffin, he's like, your goddamn hootenanny, something about the dinings are phonies.
What?
He says so, that's what he says. It's just like, who is this guy? And you're kind of just going like, who is this weird, like old school, like Jack Benny show era comedian that just infiltrated this movie? And Bond is wondering the same, because in his bathtub, he sees an ad for his act where he's a comedian. He's like he's like the Don Rickles, but like even older. And and his act is
next to Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah. And he's like,
who was in this movie.
Yes.
Originally, when Bond first goes into a casino, Sam Davis Jr. and Scruffy Saxby, who is played by Bruce Cabot, who was Jack Driscoll in the original King Kong.
Oh, yeah.
Sammy Davis, this was his last movie.
Oh.
Yeah. But Sammy Davis Jr. was going to be there, and he was going to be gambling, and he was going to be like, look, it's James Bond.
But can I ask, was that like the common Vegas show was like the old man doing dad joke one-liners?
It
while
still
naked...
is, Jan.
No, but while naked women are like rubbing him.
Well, no, that's part of his act. That's the weird differentiating thing, is that he's doing like weird like grandpa jokes while he has two beautiful women like next to him, and those are his acorns.
Shady Tree and his acorn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to go back to the coffin scene a little bit, and I think
let's go back to the coffin.
Why does it work in Goldfinger and not here? And I think part of it is the way that it's shot. Is like in Goldfinger, you get your wide shots of James Bond laying there and the laser, so there's a relation between the threat and James Bond. And then you keep cutting closer, and you keep cutting. You see how the laser progresses. There's a time, the time is ticking, and there's tension there. In this, James Bond is shot completely separate from the fire. There's no frame of reference if the fire is like advancing in any way.
Well, there's the smoke, but the difference is that you don't have a laser pointed at your genitals.
Yeah,
that adds a lot.
But also the way it's edited, like there's no room to maneuver. As Jan says, there's no way to create physical space because he's in a coffin inside a crematorium.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that he doesn't die instantly. And somehow they pull him out, and it's edited in such a way that I'm not even sure how he got out of it.
And in Goldfinger, what you're thinking is, oh, how is James Bond gonna get out of this one? And then he gets out of it through his wits. In this one, the only thing you're thinking is, I wonder who's gonna save him, because there's no way he's getting out of this one.
Well, that's just like in Goldfinger when he's disarming the nuke.
Well, yes.
where just some guy just comes in and turns it off.
Staple of him just being basically incompetent and like winning by luck.
Yeah, just a drunk stumbling around. But at least in Goldfinger, you had that one scene where he was kind of like, shit, I didn't think that would work.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's just like, it's completely devoid of excitement and tension. It's just like stuff is just happening.
It just happens.
Yeah.
It's
happens. Just a beat where they need to have Bond in a perilous situation. Yeah, and Guy Hamilton's getting more risky, trying to do, as he's like, can I do something even more tight cornered than that elevator fight? He's in a coffin. Now. I can direct my way out of this. No.
Guy.
And they're like, well, where are the real diamonds?
You dirty double-crossing, limey fink, those goddamn diamonds are phonies.
And then he has to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Yay!
and
why
does it look like Vegas?
The look and tone of the movie is going to be Las Vegas. What?
Vegas? Why does it look like Vegas?
Why does it look like Vegas?
It looks like Vegas. Why does it look like Vegas?
This movie is a great comedy because all great comedy comes from pain.
All comedy is based on some form of misery.
And I was certainly suffering during this movie.
It was funny. Like, so do they go to the White House from? I like how they're like, we got to appeal to Americans. How do you appeal to Americans? We're going to call the casino the White House.
Yeah.
Which is just the international hotel that Elvis stayed at, right? The White House.
Gonna share my money, gonna share my hole.
I gotta say, like, you'd think that Las Vegas would be a more exciting setting because
absolutely not. I think it's just like out of place. Like I think even in the book Diamonds Are Forever, that the location is Vegas, and it's such a weird, dingy place.
Well, again, the guy Hamilton staple with Goldfinger is we're going to America, or we're going to like the dumpiest parts of America.
and wouldn't it be funny if this well-dressed man was walking around with grandmas in Hawaiian shirts,
white tuxedo? In both movies, like the classiness of James Bond is the exception. Like he is completely out of his element.
That's the Guy Hamilton.
Yeah.
I would say that's also true for Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun. I think you've touched on something.
But in Live and Let Die, he goes to cool places like New Orleans and
New York City.
And New York
gonna
City.
show my baby, gonna show my soul.
But
gonna show
Las
my
Vegas,
soul.
especially in the 70s, it's just so empty, so drab, so dirt. It's like James Bond goes to Skid Row. Like,
pretty much.
I don't know. This is fascinating. I like Bond going to Vegas in this one because I don't think they know what Las Vegas is. So you get this weird thing where it's like a casino, a carnival for children, weird sideshows. Like they think it's a circus, and I'm like, why are there 8-year-olds playing like carnival games in this casino?
Oh well, the circus is like a circus.
It is like a circus. I've been there.
Do they allow children?
Yeah,
into
I was there as a kid.
I
went there
was
as a
at
kid.
the
Oh, that
circus
explains
as a
a
kid
lot.
as well. Yeah.
Wait, what? Your parents took you places when you were children?
You had parents?
I was that little boy yelling at Jill St. John.
I was a little boy yelling at
that baby, but
and I was that elephant.
But no, honestly, I don't think even in the original Ocean's 11, I feel like you don't get to see a lot of like what classic Vegas, pre 90s, rebuild.
Yeah.
What it was
pre
like.
Vegas Strip.
Yeah, well, pre like corporate, when it was still like.
Well, this is when it was starting to become more corporate because as we referenced earlier, Howard Hughes did take over Vegas and was trying to redevelop it from a mob playground to adult Disneyland at this time.
Yeah, well, that's why the Circus is so prominently featured in this movie, because it was like the first big carnival sort of hotel in the Las Vegas Strip.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wait, so were there elephants like gambling in the circus? We've been making fun.
Not to my knowledge.
But interesting story about them filming in Vegas was that, so because Cubby Broccoli was friends with Howard Hughes and, he had bought a bunch of the casinos, they would get permission to like film all over the Vegas Strip. And they would talk to one of Hughes's right-hand men, and the go-ahead code word is that we receive word from the penthouse. You're good to go. You could shoot anywhere in Vegas.
Yeah.
And that meant that Howard Hughes approved.
Yeah.
And you could shoot in the hotels and the casinos and on the streets.
Because you can see like it. Yeah, it's really there. I don't know. I mean, some parts, especially in Circus, it feels like they did not like shut it down. Like it feels like they're just filming what's really going on in a lot of the cases, you know, with the trapeze artists and so on. And I guess we'll get to this later. We'll get to this later, but the great nighttime car chase, like you can tell those are not extras. People just lined up to watch them film.
Oh yeah. They actually had to reshoot the car stunt 3 times.
And you can tell.
Yeah, the first time they did it, the second unit caught the crowd like watching the stunt happen and the police like blocking off the strip. So they're like, we can't use this. And so they did it again, but the American stunt drivers couldn't do the stunt. So then they had to film it again with French stunt drivers who insisted on having the driver side up. But the problem is the footage of the car going into the alleyway, it was the passenger side up. So then they're like, this is a giant continuity error. So then afterwards, I'm not sure. I think it's a post-production thing where they literally just close up on Jill St. John because it was Panavision. They're able to flip it and add a sound effect.
It's one of the worst cutaway things I've ever fucking seen. Like, it makes no fucking sense.
It's just so funny.
Guy is just having a time.
Apparently, Guy Hamilton hated large American cars, so he always made it a mission to like destroy large American cars.
Which is why all the police cars just get fucked up.
Oh, wait a minute. We completely skipped over Plenty.
Hi, I'm Plenty.
But of course you are.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, no, we gotta get
Plenty
Well,
O'Toole.
there's not much to say.
Lana Wood.
Yeah, she's hot. Okay, next point.
No, but she gets dropped out of the window.
She just dropped out of a window into a pool and survives. But then in a different pool, she is dead.
And she's pretty much naked. Is that when we get naked Connery?
Shortly after, when he's about to bed Jill St. John, when she's like, where are the diamonds?
So, and again, Lana Wood is the younger sister of Natalie Wood, who was married to who then married Jill St. John after Natalie Wood died. So
some would say die, some would allegedly.
Some would say other things.
Some would say things, and we'll leave it at that.
That I am not gonna suggest on this podcast because I don't want to get sued by.
He's still alive.
Who's still alive?
Yeah.
Speaking of people who are still alive for a really long time, apparently parts of this movie were shot on Kirk Douglas's like personal property.
Is that his house later on?
I actually think it's where Bond and Tiffany Case had their first meeting, was Kirk Douglas's house.
Oh, okay.
Not that he was actually, he also mistreated Natalie Wood. Anyway.
Allegedly.
He's dead. And Michael Douglas didn't deny it. Anyway. Yeah, so Plenty O'Toole, she comes back in to remind you of Pussy Galore, and Lana Wood does. I would have liked to have seen more of her, but yeah, she's cut out of the movie, and then people walk into the room and they throw her out the window, and then Bond's like, oh, good, you threw her in a pool. And they're like, there's a pool?
That's a pretty good gag. That's a good joke.
Yeah, that's a pretty good gag.
Oh, apparently Lana Wood got cast in the movie because she was friends with Tom Mankiewicz.
Plenty O'Toole, along with Pussy Galore, is like the quintessential Bond girl name. But I don't even know if I would classify her as a Bond girl. She doesn't have sex with Bond.
Yeah, she's like a cameo.
Yeah, she does.
She is a glorified cameo, but she makes an impression. Everybody remembers her and talks about her
because of the
movie.
name and because she's really hot, I think. But I don't think it's like a particularly.
Poor Lana Wood.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't think it's a particularly good performance or anything.
Well, she said she based her character off like Minnie Mouse.
Why does Minnie Mouse keep coming up in this series?
Sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Troy, you say that every character is based on Minnie Mouse.
No, but I read this. Lana Wood has said this in interviews that she based the character off Minnie Mouse.
Yeah, like, I heard that Roger Moore based his James Bond on baby Minnie Mouse.
No, but look at Man with the Golden Gun, where he has a little bow on his head and he's like pooping himself.
Let's keep going on. So now Sean Connery beds Jill St. John, and we get to see that zaddy body, more skin on Connery than in any of the other movies.
Yeah, we are in the 70s.
We're just like, oh yeah.
I was having breakfast when I was watching this, and I had to stop.
I was tossing my salad while I was watching this, and I kept going.
You kept adding more oil.
Just this man reeking of cheese, just going like, "Yes, I'm about to seduce you." Like,
you know, I will say this for Sean Connery: he still would win Sexiest Man Alive 15 years down the road.
That is
I think.
true.
So good for him. You can't deny the magnetism.
He's so hairy. In that scene when the lady turns into a gorilla, I thought it was gonna be Sean Connery.
So let's see.
So, you know what's even more disgusting in that fucking scene? Right after, so he gets into bed and we see some Connery skin, and then they're already post-coital and they're just like sitting down in the bed. And she's smoking a cigarette, and he has an ashtray on his chest. And I'm like, what the
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, man.
It's like Iron Man's, like, heart thing.
Yeah, it's just like an ashtray, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the most disgusting image I've ever seen in my life. I, like, puked in my mouth.
He survives on cigarette butts and ash.
It's so fucking trashy.
I like how like you feel chronologically. This should have been James Bond as like a widower, but instead it's James Bond as like a divorced guy.
James Bond on the rebound.
Yeah, he's going to Vegas.
It's James Bond's midlife crisis.
Yeah.
My god, now I want to see a version of this where Moneypenny gives James Bond a present that says proof that James Bond has a heart, and it's an ashtray with like used condoms and cigarette butts.
Now you give me a present, James. I only have chlamydia.
I gave you herpes.
Went to Vegas.
Good night.
Yeah, you got one thing wrong, Moneypenny. I don't use condoms.
So we've covered most of the circus stuff. Do we want to go back to that weird moment with the gorilla?
Please, I'm dying to talk about this. The movie goes from being a silly James Bond romp to like Nightmare Alley.
Yeah, and it's like a little boy, and like the Jill St. John, Tiffany Case is like winning rigged bubbles things. Yeah, it's just wandering through a crazed middle-aged.
Yeah, and then she turns into a gorilla, and you're like, where is this going? And then you're like, nowhere.
Yeah, no, it's just there.
What the fuck
it's like,
was
this
that?
is just racist out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
And so he follows the trail to
white
secret
Technotronics.
Technotronics.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we get more wonderful improv.
Connery's on top of the improv game. When he's disguising himself as other people, it's that's the best stuff in the movie.
I think I've changed my opinion. I kind of like Sean Connery in this movie. He's just having a silly
Thank
old
you!
time.
Yeah, no, he's so out of it that he is like going to weird, interesting places.
Yeah, he's just doing silly bits.
He's just lying his way in. I love that. I mean, it's not a very secure facility because I think this is the only time I've seen like a checkpoint where they raise the gate and then ask, "Who are you?" You know? And then he's like, "Oh, well, I work here." And they're like, "Oh, good. Okay."
Oh, good.
You know.
Oh, I just started. Who are you? Oh, I'm this. I'm at Section C. Oh, I've never seen you before. Oh, I never got a card. Oh, here's a card.
Well, okay, this is what I was going to say. This is the greatest part of the movie. I lost it because by Guy Hamilton standards, when they cut to the moon set, you think they're actually just on the moon right now.
You see Sean Connery's
and then
little
Sean
face.
Connery's head pops out from behind a little mound of dirt, and I'm like...
It's the cutest thing ever. It reminded me of my cat when he looks like from behind the couch. It's just like his little face.
That is an iconic moment. And also I'm thinking like, are they suggesting that Howard Hughes faked the moon landing?
I think they are.
I think they are.
I think that's the suggestion.
Because they have a control room, but you don't see any cameras. So are they just doing it for fun? Like, what are they rehearsing?
Well,
they have the.
There's two things. One, apparently NASA would do this. They would have rehearsal rooms where they would try to replicate moon standards. So that's part of it. But also part of me is like, again, the whole James Bond franchise is like the last gasps of British imperialism. So I also feel they're like, oh yeah, America probably faked the moon landing.
I have in my big Bond book this picture of Sean Connery on the set of the moon. And if you look closely, he is.
That's him with two women.
He's golfing.
Okay, wait, I see
on the moon set, and I really want this to be part of like those moon landing truthers thing. Going like, see, they faked the moon landing.
Yeah,
see, Sean Connery was here playing golf. Sean Connery is involved.
Also, why is Stanley Kubrick in this scene?
Uh-oh.
Stinky.
That's the thing. They couldn't get Kubrick back for the other Apollo missions, so Guy Hamilton had to direct the ones where they play golf, and that's why it's a little sillier in the later Apollos. So he pops out. He's on the moon. He drives a moon buggy.
Yeah. Which is designed by Ken Adam.
I love the moon buggy.
He in quotes, he said, I wanted to make because he looked at the moon buggy designs. He's like, no, I wanted to make something look as grotesque as possible with arms coming out. And apparently when they were filming in the Nevada desert, it kept breaking down in the middle of the desert.
Aww.
Wait, but tell me Sean was in it, right? Like, it goes like 5 feet, and Sean's just like, damn it!
That's the thing. That's another sign that, like, maybe I don't know, he's having some kind of fun, because like some of the action, like, yeah, that's him. Like,
yeah,
it's not the James Bond wish fulfillment fun. It's they will give me anything I want to be here.
Yes,
kind of fun.
That's right. So then that transitions into nighttime car chase.
Yeah,
which you call the great.
Yes, because it is.
It's
yes,
I think
fun. It's a good thing.
It's probably the most amusing part of the movie, but that car tilt really.
The car tilt is so delightful.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know who got fired for that blunder. I don't know who the script supervisor was, but
they interviewed the script supervisor, and I think she was like saying like, it doesn't match, don't do it. You can't do it this way, but that's the only way to get the French team to do the stunt.
Silly American woman.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
I remember from the credits, Mr. Hunt, our editor, he didn't work on this one, did he?
No, he's done.
He's done.
He's gone.
That's why you don't have any of the weird sped up and like jump cuts.
That's right. Again, it's polished. But yeah, they're like drip. I mean, I feel like this is the kind of stuff you would not see in movies today, right? Where it's like the clearly like real, just like onlookers just standing in front of the Golden Nugget.
Yeah.
Like just lined up in a row watching these cars drift like within like 10 feet of them.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty cool.
No, that is pretty cool. I like the scene. Continuity error trying to fix shenanigans or whatnot. It is still.
Well, wait, has Plenty O'Toole died yet?
Oh yeah, no, we
she dies, whatever, yeah.
She drowned, and apparently yes, they go to kill Tiffany. But Plenty O'Toole, they think it's Tiffany because no one knows who anyone looks like in the James Bond movies.
And she's like, why is my wig in the pool? That's no wig. It's Lana Wood. In an image that definitely does not parallel any real life events.
Apparently Lana Wood almost drowned for real because she was like attached to like a concrete slab.
Well, yeah, that looks
and
dangerous.
They just dropped her.
Yeah.
And she was like, ah! And it's like, oh, this is weird. But they saved her.
I think you see some titty in that shot also.
I mean, that's Diamonds Are Forever. You see.
Well, you see Sean Connery's titties like throughout.
Yeah.
I just gotta say, I can't decide if it's hilarious or if I just plain hate just James Bond just chilling, drinking like a Coke next to Plenty O'Toole's corpse right in front of him.
Yeah, that all seems weird.
Just taking a sun
bath.
Right.
I don't know why it's in there, if I'm being honest. Like, you cut so many of her scenes. I feel you could probably just cut that one. But
Yeah,
okay.
well, that's when Jill St. John finds out that he's not Peter Franks.
No shit, Sherlock.
He's like manipulating her, but sometimes she's in on it, but sometimes she's just kind of dumb, but then sometimes he's dumb, and he's like, you put the right tape back in, you idiot.
We'll get to that. We'll get to the tape swapping.
Yeah,
but
and all that good stuff.
Bond has to climb up the White House, but he has to dress in probably the most garish tuxedo since George Lazenby, I guess, because he has like the purple like collar on his tuxedo, and he has the rose, and he's climbing up with the grapple gun. Then he comes in, hears Willard White's voice go like, "Drop your guns, please, Mr. Bond." And he walks in, and he thinks he's about to see Willard White, but alas, it is Broccoli's dream come true. It is not Howard Hughes / Willard White. It is Blofeld.
Good evening, Mr. Bond.
I do want to say, earlier in the movie, you see Willard White talking, and it's Blofeld's pantsuit. So, like, we already knew, but now it's confirmed.
But there's two Blofelds.
There's two of them, yes.
There's two of them, and
two
again,
cats.
There's two cats, and then he says, "Wrong pussy."
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, because Connery tries to figure out which one to shoot.
He's like, well, I guess I'll just shoot one of them.
He kicks the cat, and the cat goes to the master, and then he thinks, because the cat jumps to him, that's Blofeld, and he shoots him in the fucking face.
What if he had actually killed the right Blofeld, and then this other guy is just like, well, I guess I'm Blofeld now.
That's the thing, like, does it even matter at that point?
No.
Because he's probably in on the plan too. But I was going to say, Guy Hamilton is playing the hits because he also has a little miniature diorama of his plan in the floor.
Yeah.
You think Guy Hamilton just liked making miniature dioramas?
I
Like
think
he would just come to set with them?
Yeah.
I think he did. And he even took the time to add a model of the oil rig, which was not Willard White's actual one. And he's like, wait a minute, I don't have any holdings at Baja.
And Willard White is played by Jimmy Dean, the Sausage King.
The Breakfast Sausage King.
Yay.
James Dean was a different person who was in a movie with Natalie Wood, whose sister was Lana Wood, and whose husband was...
Yeah, we're not talking about...
So he's like, just take the elevator. It's just a normal elevator.
Oh, I love how Bond like walks away, and it's like a dog with his tail between his legs, and he just kind of looks sad. He's just like, you fucked up, Bond. You just get out. Get in the elevator. Get in the elevator. He's like, okay.
Go and clear off. Yeah, he's just like, I'll see you later. You know?
Bye, Blofeld.
It's so pathetic.
Go get some rest, Bond. We'll pick this up in the morning.
I'm tired.
Maybe it's just like, okay, James, you're drunk, you're tired. Go sleep it off.
Sean, you're drunk. Go home.
He killed his wife, and they're just like, look, we've been through a lot together. You need an Uber? You need me to call you an Uber?
He gets your ride. But yeah, he gets gassed, and he gets put in a tube.
In a pipeline.
In a pipeline. And then this is one of the ones where I'm like, that's odd. He creates a glitch, so these guys have to, these actual pipeline workers have to come and dig up the pipeline that they just buried, and then he just pops up and he's like, I was just walking my rat and seemed to have lost my way.
I was just out walking my rat and I seem to have lost my way.
Oh yeah, because there's that moment in the pipe where him and the rat are like bonding.
He's talking to a rat.
He's talking to a rat, but he says, do I smell like a homophobic slurs cologne?
One of us smells like a handkerchief.
Yeah.
Or is that you? Is that you or me? I think it's me. And that comes up back later in the movie.
I will say, the moments when Sean Connery's just by himself and like thinking about what he's gotten into do sometimes have an odd poignancy to them.
He plays it well, and this does, I think this is the first instance in the Bond series of trying really hard to anthropomorphize a live-action animal.
No, the first instance is when the elephant plays the slot earlier in the movie.
A certain pigeon is coming.
Yes.
Paul is like a pigeon countdown behind him.
Yeah, he does.
He's like counting down until he
Right,
gets
right,
really sad.
right next to his Woodrow Wilson
Woodrow
portrait.
Wilson.
But yes, Bond decides to make a witty remark about his pet rat to these technicians, and then we move on.
Yeah.
He crank calls Blofeld with
Hughes thing. Yeah.
Does he crank call Blofeld?
Yeah, he crank calls Blofeld to reveal the position of Willard White, where he's holding him. And it is at where they filmed it. It was an actual house in Palm Springs that just looked like a Ken Adams set. Who was it owned by?
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was owned by Howard Hughes.
No, apparently it was just some house they found in Palm Springs. And Ken Adams like, this house is so beautiful. It's like I designed it.
And Troy, it's not Howard Hughes. It's Sam. We've
Sam.
established this.
We're good friends. We're on first name
friend
basis.
Sam.
Our friend Sam.
There he meets Bambi and Thumper, who are just there. They fight.
I mean, it's a pretty cool fight, I think.
It's weird.
It's weird. It's edited weird.
They're very athletic.
Apparently, Guy Hamilton was like, it was supposed to be two guys, but then Guy Hamilton was like, what about women tumblers? Bond wouldn't stand a chance.
If they're gymnasts and they keep doing flips, imagine being kicked by a gymnast. That would hurt.
You'd think that this would be Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wint, but no.
No, well,
two characters that we've never seen before.
Well, Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd work for Blofeld, and Bambi and Thumper specifically work for Willard White.
They're just the first line of security. I will say, we'll get to the toupee, but his hair gets wet in this, especially when he decides to he humorously waterboards them, basically.
Yeah.
I was like, is he gonna kill him in front of Felix and
we're
all
not
those
sure
people?
how long this is gonna go on.
And then Felix is like, "Why are you taking swimming lessons?" Oh, let's see if I can find out. And he dunks them in again. And he goes like, "You gonna tell me where he is?" And then finally,
you know what's
Thumper
weird? It's when
him.
Thumper gets out, but Bambi's still under.
No, Bambi gets out.
I know Bambi gets out, but there's a moment where Thumper gets out, but Bambi's still under, and I'm like, anyone gonna check on Bambi?
Yeah, it's a little tense. He talks to Willard White, and he's like, "Oh yeah, somebody impersonated me."
Should we talk about Bond's loud pink tie during this?
Oh yeah, sure.
He's got
Why
a pink
not?
tie.
He has a very loud pink tie, and I'm like,
it's progressive.
The 70s hit James Bond like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, and we'll leave it at that.
And speaking of, I mean, not just Bond's tie, but after he's done talking to Mr. White, and then I think we see Q rigging all the slot machines. But Blofeld, for one shot, is he supposed to be Liberace?
No, he's
he's just a woman.
He's just in drag. He's dressed up as a grandma.
That's what a
gambling.
woman looks like, Paul. It's the biggest prank of all.
And that is my personal favorite moment.
That's up there for me. That is up there for me, certainly.
Because I think what does it for me is that Jill St. John looks genuinely terrified.
Yes.
But it's just it's Charles Gray as Blofeld, and now he's disguised himself as a grandma, and you're just like, yep. This is exactly the right tone.
How far have we come from Anthony Dawson and Donald Pleasant to now this is Blofeld?
But this is a natural progression.
Is he the only person in Rocky Horror who doesn't do drag in that movie?
I think so, yeah.
He's one of them,
So we're making up.
He'd already done it, yeah.
He's been there, done that, moving on.
I love how he's just dressed as a woman, and Paul's like, is that Liberace?
Well, I'm thinking Vegas. We had a Howard Hughes type. I'm like, is this Elton John? No. Well, because he's got the giant orange shades.
No,
right?
but he's so clearly an old woman.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Elton John looks like an old woman too, but
but he was 12.
Elton John looks just like my grandma.
There you go.
May she rest in peace.
Well, he's got a blonde, he's got all the, it looks like a Vegas lady, exactly.
Why does it look like Vegas?
It looks like Vegas. Why does it look like Vegas?
I don't get it.
What do you mean by
So they break out Willard White, who's being held in his basement. Saxby starts shooting at them with a sniper rifle. They just mercilessly gun him down, and he rolls down the hill, and he's like...
And then Willard White goes, he's fired.
No,
and
he's
then
like,
Sean Connery
who was that? That was Saxby. Tell him he's fired. Sean Connery looks at him like, what?
Like, looks at him like, what? Are you stupid?
Jimmy Dean, the Sausage King.
I think somewhere in here we get the plan is enacted, right?
Yep. So the plan is that they're using the diamonds that they've stolen from the smuggling operation to build a satellite that they can launch into space. They could shoot a laser down upon cities, nuclear sites.
It's pretty silly. The effects are very funny.
Yes.
Because
yeah,
they are not trying to be realistic at all.
Oh my god.
They're trying to be a cartoon.
The shot with like the Asian like army person where he's just like chilling and then he looks up and he's like ah.
Yeah, then it's like the guy who's like blue screened in there on fire, like ah!
Also, doesn't Blofeld have like a line with the doctor where I think he's working with a doctor who saw this as a path for nuclear disarmament, and Blofeld's like, yeah,
sure. He's like, wait, you're saying that you're not for nuclear disarmament? And then Blofeld's like, who cares? Money.
There you go.
Prepare my battle sub.
I love that. I love how Blofeld is just like a coward in this.
That's the best Blofeld line in a movie chock full of the best Blofeld lines. Prepare my battle sub, or whatever he says.
Prepare my battle sub immediately.
Yeah, right after telling his men to go like fight for him, he's like,
fight for the
I
death.
got the fuck out.
Prepare my battle sub. Another weird one where when it's in the sequence of him, like the world powers are skirmishing, and then I think he says something along the lines of the great powers are flexing their muscles like so many impotent beach boys.
No, I think he says bullies, but he does call them beach boys.
I'm like, that's weird. That's not a really funny. That's weird. Yeah.
Well, I laughed.
Yeah,
Blofeld is a nerd, and he's bullied by the great powers.
Yeah, and again, it's like it's a bit dated, but whatever.
What does he say? When does he say to James Bond, "Why are you even here? Your country's not even targeted. I don't even care about."
Well, you get the moment where Willard White's like FBI, CIA, and he's like, no, British intelligence.
And everyone's like,
in your
what?
house. British intelligence has broken into your house and killed your guards. He's like, oh, all right, what do you need? And he's like, wait a minute, I don't have an oil rig in Baja.
Wait a second, I never hired this expert in lasers to be a part of it. He was a bad guy. I would have never approved of this. I'm like, well, he's been working for you for the past 3 years.
Wait a second. That's not a woman. It's Blofeld.
When he kidnaps Jill St. John, and Jill St. John is chilling on that oil rig in Baja, California.
Because she seems to have switched sides.
She seems to have. But
I think the climax is kind of really fucking boring, to be honest.
I agree with you. I noticed some fun parts this time, but yeah.
It's one of the it's probably might be the weakest action sequence.
Apparently it was kind of haphazardly put together.
Yeah.
Because
well,
more so than the rest of the movie, because apparently they were doing a dress rehearsal, and for some reason
this movie had rehearsals?
It was called drinking, Jan.
So no explosions. And then the first AD misheard Guy Hamilton, and they end up blowing up all the explosives on the oil rig.
Oh, like in Tropic Thunder.
That's the signal. Go, 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 go. Yeah, that's my shit. Mother Nature just pissed her pants soon.
Yeah, but luckily there was one helicopter camera rib, which they used like a lot of that footage of the oil derelict blowing up, because the guy's just like, oh shit, it's starting, and they just filmed that, and they used that most of the time. And then the AD went up to Guy Hamilton, was just like, I'm so sorry. Guy Hamilton's like, it's all right, I'll take care of it. No, you don't understand. He's like, it's all right, I'll take care of it. No, you don't know the pressure being a first AD on one of these pictures. He's like, I was the first AD on The African Queen with John Huston. I'll take care of it.
There you go.
John Huston, the director of Casino Royale?
Yes. No, not again. No, go away. we got to get to the tape flipping part. Where...
Yeah, again, in another Guy Hamilton special, this whole climactic sequence is just a comedy of errors.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, boy.
Everyone's dumb.
Yeah.
Well, and then Bond flips the tapes, and then he takes the real tape and puts it in Jill St. John's underwear. And this is my third favorite Sean Connery Bond line in this movie, when he just goes like, bitch.
Bitch.
I'm just like, that's so uncalled for. I've never seen him just straight up swear like, bitch. Whore.
Yeah, it's the perfect cover.
And Blofeld also has a perfect line for that. He just goes, showing a little too much ass, or what does he say?
No, it's showing too much cheek.
Showing too much
a little
cheek,
too cheeky.
Too cheeky.
God, I love
because Blofeld has put the nuclear codes on a cassette tape of March music, because he hates March music.
Yeah.
So wait, okay, now maybe I missaw this, so I'm kind of curious what other people think. So yeah, so Bond switches out the tapes.
Bond switches out the tapes first, and then he puts the real tape in Tiffany Case's underwear. And then Tiffany Case thinks that she slipped him the fake tape so that she could slip out and switch the tapes. But then he goes like, you stupid idiot. I already switched the tapes. Switch them back. And so she goes back, switches the tape again. But by this time, she has the real tape in her underwear. And that's when Blofeld catches her in the act.
But
on
she
like,
still manages to put the fake tape in, right?
Yeah, she still manages to do it.
Yeah.
See, Tiffany Case is the most competent Bond girl since Tracy.
I wouldn't go that far, but she's
Tracy.
Since Tracy.
I would agree with that statement.
Yeah,
she's more competent than Plenty O'Toole.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, the zoom in into her ass is very skillfully done.
Yes.
Guy Hamilton had priorities.
But yeah, the climax of this is just people kind of stumbling around, a bunch of lame gags, and I kind of don't like that Blofeld's plan is revealed like right up until the end. I kind of like that in the other Spectre movies, you know right off the bat, like, oh, we're hijacking this or that.
Wait, you knew his plan in On Her Majesty's Secret Service right off the bat?
Well, he tells you halfway through.
He gives you some time, and it's not like the last 10 minutes.
But then, like, in this one, they're, like, building it up for so much, and you're like, oh, what's it going to be? I was like, oh, it's the same thing.
But yeah, because that's when they figured out. They didn't figure out what the plan was until they were shooting it, probably.
But yeah, it's just very silly.
Oh, and
Connery gets in
the crane, and he picks up Blofeld, and he's just like, you stupid idiots, you could have killed me. And then I think he kills Blofeld in this moment.
No!
Right?
Oh, no, wait, he does, because that's not Blofeld in For Your Eyes Only. That's another
yeah,
Bond
well, like, you're left to assume, because they don't show any aftermath. The last time you see him, he's yelling at Bond, going like, why are you trying to kill me? And then he just smashes him around the oil rig. And I just thought,
like a very anticlimactic face-off.
Yeah, I'm just like, I guess he's dead.
This is the funniest possible ending to the Spectre arc.
Yes.
Because it's like, with the exception of Goldfinger, all the movies have been about defeating this one guy, and he goes out like a bitch.
It's kind of like in No Time to Die. I mean, wait, I didn't see that movie. Oh my God. Cut that out.
What are you talking about?
It's all just very silly because, it's just Connery gets in the crane. He does not know how to operate the crane. He's like, that goes down. Oh, this goes up. And then he brings him back so that he can catch him. And then he can't even get him out of the scuba thing. And then he just is like, time to run away. And Tiffany Case shoots a big gun and then just falls off the oil rig.
No, Tiffany Case tries to hand Bond. She tries to hand Bond a gun. And she's like, shoot them. And he's like, I'm operating a crane. And then she tries to shoot him, and she falls off the rig.
It really becomes into like an Abbott and Costello routine by the end.
Yeah, and I feel like Goldfinger, I got the impression, I'm like, he didn't finish him off. They didn't catch him. Where is he? You know?
It's just funny that the last two movies felt like a grand finale for this Spectre thing. But this is the one that they go out. Like one of the most inconsequential, incompetent
they were going to make one more Blofeld movie. It was going to be The Spy Who Loved Me, and Kevin.
Darn you!
No, Kevin McClory rightfully claimed his creation back is what happened. It's a success story for intellectual property owners.
Oh, are we saying this because we're losing the lawsuit right now? Does Kevin officially own us? Oh, am I?
We're not. Jake,
about that.
Not supposed to.
Jake, if you keep talking, we're gonna have to give the rights to Paul back to Kevin.
No. Oh, actually, good. Fine. Fuck it.
I'm just gonna bleep this whole part.
I'm producer Joe. Pay no attention to any resemblance to any future or past producers.
And with that said, we are at the final scene of Diamonds Are Forever,
and it is something.
It's the weirdest final scene of any of these movies so far.
Honestly, it's like a great, like, if you're doing like a Bond out of context compilation, you just do the scene where Bond kills Mr. Wint by like shoving the bomb up his ass and flipping him off the boat.
And the other guy he kills with shish kebab sticks.
Wait, guys, let's break
it down. Okay,
so
Troy.
Bond and Tiffany are together on the balcony. They're taking the long way around back to England, and Tiffany is still scared. She's going to jail, her main concern. And so those two,
Wint and Kid,
Mr. Wint and Kid come in with a big dinner, and they have a bomba cake in which they put a bomb, and then. Who's the guy in glasses? Kid?
That's Kid.
All right, so Kid advances so slowly on Bond.
And
with
they're
two
not
lit shish
moving.
kebabs.
Oh, and
like 5 seconds.
Also, you forgot to mention that this is a payoff of the reason why he figures out that they're assassins is a payoff from the rat scene when Bond makes a homophobic remark about how he smells. And he smells the aftershave because it's set up also earlier that Mr. Wint likes to put on aftershave, and he smells the same aftershave when he's trying the claret. And he also catches him on an error going like, this meal would go great with the claret. Oh, we're stock out of claret. We just have this. And he's like, this wine is a claret.
Mouton Rothschild is a claret.
And then Mr. Kid just like takes out the shish kebabs and lights them. They're on fire. And he's like, okay, kill him.
What does Bond do to him? Does he just like push him a little bit? Like, how does he end up on fire?
No, he throws the alcohol on him or the oil, and then he lights on fire.
Shish kebab lights on fire. It's basically James Bond going like, "Wait a minute, no heterosexual man would smell this good," and he just murders him.
And then he ties the bomb, like he gives Wint a wedgie. And like takes the bomb from the cake.
After Mr. Wint goes like, woo! Woo! Which out of context, that sequence of shots, I'm like, this needs to go in a compilation of out of context Bond moments.
And then Bond pushes him overboard, and then Tiffany goes, "But James, I have a question for you." And he's like, "What's that? How are we gonna get those diamonds down from the laser?"
How the hell do we get those diamonds down again?
Oh, and you know what's even better? You can clearly see the matte outline of the diamond thing in the
This looks like a square, cut out of the night sky.
It's like that scene about grabbing the moon from It's a Wonderful Life. If it fucking sucked and was really shitty.
And so how are we going to get the diamonds from out of there? And we close the curtain on Sean Connery's tenure as James Bond in the official Ian Broccoli series.
What a way to go out.
Yes.
His final moments as James Bond. I don't know how to operate this crane.
He commits a hate crime and then...
Bitch. And then fuck gay people.
A fitting end to his tenure.
And shitty matte painting.
Still a less cringeworthy movie, in my personal opinion, than some of the sequences in the previous.
Well, the thing is, Paul, it's like this movie is so cringe that it counteracts itself, where the cringe is like
it
endearing.
Comes full circle.
Yeah.
Yes. That's where I'm with it.
All right, shall we get into final thoughts and toupee reviews?
Oh, well, we all know what we think of the toupee.
Oh, we all know, but we'll reiterate it. We got to rank it, or we got to rate it. Jan, would you like to go first?
Sure. So the toupee is one of the worst things I've ever seen. It is disgusting. I don't like looking at it. I can smell it. It's disgusting.
It's that rat from the tunnel.
Yeah.
His toupee escaped.
No, well, actually, I'll give it a 1 out of 10 because in a way it's like appropriate for Vegas. This like old man in a bad toupee pretending to be cool and suave. And that's pretty much how this entire movie feels like. It's kind of sad just to see this old drunk man in Vegas. It's supposed to be cool. It's not. Yes, it's campy and it has a lot of fun moments. But overall, like Paul said, it's very weird. It's very cringy. And at times it's just very dry and boring. It doesn't have any of the gadgets. The setting sucks. It's got nothing that I would say like, oh yeah. So far in every of the movies have had something that I've been like, this is the best in this. This is the best in the one-liners. This is the best in the setting. This is the best in the Bond girls. This one has none of that. It's just awkward. But like Jake said, I guess it is kind of like an idiot kid who is like, you know, it's an idiot and it's annoying, but it's a kid. That's kind of how this movie feels like. It feels like it was made for children, by children, so I can't hate it, but it's not good. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10.
All right, Troy.
So, I always consider Diamonds Are Forever the inverse of You Only Live Twice, where I feel You Only Live Twice is a great ending, but it's kind of boring in the lead up. Diamonds Are Forever is gonzo, balls to the wall, baller cinema until that wet blanket of an ending. So, you know, yes, it does a lot of bad things. It's not good, but you know, every moment, my whole thing with James Bond is like, I hate when a James Bond movie is just dun da 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 da. I'm going into another office. Dun da dun dun. I'm going into another office, flipping a guy. And this movie is not that. This movie is crazy. He's on a frickin' moon landing. He's frickin' flipping people around in elevators with like fire extinguishers.
This movie really is a circus.
Yeah, it's a circus, and that's what I like about it. I like that Sean Connery, even though he doesn't care, he's back. And like he's having fun, and Tiffany Case really makes the movie for me. I really think she's a funny, enjoyable performance by Jill St. John. I think she has a lot of fun with it, and I really like tracking Bond and Tiffany because, again, I think it's important for a good Bond movie to have that core relationship through the whole movie, and he has that relationship with Tiffany. There is part of me that every time I watch this movie, I'm like, am I going to give it 3.5? Or a 7 out of 10.
You're insane.
And today, no, I can't because it objectively does a lot of things really poorly and is bad in a lot of ways. But I have a lot of fun with this stupid, evil, dumb movie. And I give it a 6 out of 10. As a piece of cinema, it goes above You Only Live Twice for me. And also above Thunderball. It is my fourth favorite. It is my fourth favorite Sean Connery film, and I'm glad he made it.
No, this is the worst one so far.
Yes. I'll debate my opinion with you after this, Jan. The toupee is really bad, but you know, it flipped.
No, Troy, no!
And imagine his eyebrows and the little gray things on the side really make it kind of distinguished. So it's not a great toupee, but much like Diamonds Are Forever, it got the job done for me. I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. It's slightly worse than the movie, which is fine.
The more Troy praises Diamonds Are Forever, the darker the room that he's in gets.
Yeah, the light is leaving this basement.
This truly is one of the only movies with a perverse aura.
Those stars are shining. All right. My thoughts on Diamonds Are Forever. it has always been a major flip-flop, like in terms of how I feel about this movie, because I go through periods of going like, I hate this is obnoxious, this is gross, this is bad, just everything about it sucks. And then on some days I'm like, I love this movie. This is like a good example of when Bond goes the complete opposite way and just becomes like camp fun a la Die Another Day.
It's like an Inspector Gadget movie.
Yeah, basically. And I have to say, watching it again, I am still in that positive mindset. For how like gross and dingy and tacky and weird this movie is, I appreciate it. It's so odd and it's so committed to the bit and of how cringy and gross it is. It's like going to like a dingy bordello.
Yeah, that is true. That this movie is like a 4D experience. That it feels exactly like being in downtown.
You don't
Vegas.
even need the scratch and sniff cards. You could just smell the cigarette smoke and cheese whiz.
Yeah. It's exactly like being in Vegas. It's tacky, it's cringy, it's insane.
No, and that's what I appreciate about it. And you get like high camp performances from Charles Gray as Blofeld, who's I used to hate him as Blofeld, much like this movie. I hated the movie, I hated him as Blofeld. I love him now. he's my favorite out of all the Blofeld actors, because
I think
he's
he's mine too.
Chewing the fucking scenery every single second he's in. And even though Connery is bored and he looks like old and disgusting, he like has some of my favorite line deliveries and just like moments are in this movie where he's pretending to be Dutch when he goes like, is that what it was? And when he just says bitch. Like, those are like my 3 favorite Sean Connery moments in the entire series.
It's just because you hate women, Jake.
Oh yeah, of course.
Don't worry, I'll cut this out. This is just for me.
Oh yeah, wait, hold on. Jan's the one who's editing this episode. He could make us sound like a bunch of idiots.
Yes, he could. I'm Jake. I love Sean Connery's titties. Yeah, I have come around on this movie. I still haven't changed it back to I hate this and this is like not a good image for the Bond movies. I'm like, you know what? This is like, in its craziest, most campiest self, this is a perfect representation. It's not my favorite representation of this kind of Bond movie. That is still Die Another Day, and that is an undisputed masterpiece. Come at me. But this is up there. It is a movie that defies logic and defies any normal rating pattern. So I give this movie a 2.5 stars, but it has beaten out movies that I've rated 3.5 on my Bond list. That's how fucking weird and unconventional and bizarre this movie is, and it deserves to be that way.
Guy Hamilton's playing 5-dimensional chess.
Coward, just give it the 3.5.
I can't. I really can't.
Coward.
I can't give it 3.5. I don't know. I can't. It like 2.5 fits with this movie, but it's still better than the 3.5 ones because those are safe. Yeah. This is not safe. This is supposed to be a safe bet, and it is not at all. It is just weird and gross.
In the 70s, the safest thing you could do was be coked out, crazy, psycho person.
I mean, sure, but it goes beyond even like how campy and crazy the earlier Bond movies have
It's not really that crazy. It's more like crazy in a mellow way. I know we've compared this movie to a lot of things, but I really think this is like you going like, what? What is happening? And Guy Hamilton just being like, shh, and giving you more booze, you know?
Yeah, it is a perfect movie. And if you don't drink, watch this movie, and it gives you the feeling of being drunk. As for the toupee, like I said earlier, that is not a toupee. That is a dead rat on Sean Connery's head. It is awful. Sean Connery's general look is pretty bad in this movie, but it somehow fits with this movie, and it fits even better if you think about it as him completely reverting to the worst aspects of himself at post On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But just the toupee, his eyebrows, his chest hair, like everything about it, he just looks like a dingy homeless guy, and I have to give it a 1 too. I can't give it a 5 here. It's really a 1. those are my thoughts on the toupee and Diamonds Are Forever. Paul, what do you think?
And only a 1 because it matches the tone of the movie.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I guess I'll have a hot take.
He loved it.
I think the toupee is actually all right, and at least better than You Only Live Twice, because You Only Live Twice, it does not match the sides.
That's true.
And there's all kinds of problems going on where it's like, that is not on his head.
I will not take this You Only Live Twice hate. You fucking Hughes.
No, I'm not hating on it.
I should also add, I like this more than You Only Live Twice.
What the fuck?
It is the second worst Connery movie in the official series, but I think it is more interesting of an object to look at compared to You Only Live Twice. Anyway, continue, Paul.
See, you all call me a contrarian, but I just say what you're thinking. I
don't think it's better than Thunderball, though.
You sound very convincing when you're shrouded in complete darkness.
Oh no.
I'm pretty evil right now. But no, I mean, obviously Connery is looking kind of rough and definitely old, and he is full gray, unlike You Only Live Twice, where he was kind of like, salt and pepper, you know.
No.
But the toupee, I'm like, the top matches the sides. He climbs the elevator thing and it gets blown around in the wind, although it is a extreme wide shot, but it does get blown around in the wind. And when he's waterboarding the fucking Bambi,
and Thumper,
it does get wet, and unlike Thunderball, it's not cemented onto his head with goggles to hide the seams. So look, I gotta give it at least I mean, if I gave You Only Live Twice a 6 on the toupee, then this got to be at least a 7.
Oh,
what
wow.
the fuck?
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
But it makes him look so old.
Well, yes, he is old.
But he is old, Jan.
Yeah, he was only in his late 40s.
No, he wasn't even in his late 40s. He was in his... Wait, how old was he? No, he was in his early 40s.
Oh my god.
He was 41.
That's insane.
We'll be that age in 10 years.
I know. In 10 years, we're going to look like Sean Connery and Diamonds Are Forever.
Okay, give me the gun. Give
All right, I'm handing it to you. I'll Lashif.
Okay, thanks.
Anyway, where were we? Anyway, so the toupee, yeah. So the toupee is surprisingly okay. So I think I gave it a 7 out of 10. The movie,
yes,
maybe worse than the toupee actually, but not by much. I would say what we've experienced in the last few installments, especially You Only Live Twice and Our Majesty's Secret Service. We talked about how there are long stretches of those movies that are awesome, and there are long stretches of those movies that are not awesome. And my take on Diamonds Are Forever is that it might actually be the most consistent of the series so far.
Oh.
It is consistently average.
Well,
if you're thinking this is average, wait till the next ones.
Trey, what the fuck? How do any of you like this more than You Only Live Twice? You Only Live Twice is an adventure. He turns Japanese.
No, it's not. It's a bunch of office meetings, and then he does Yellowface, and then something exciting happens.
Diamonds Are Forever is where movies go to retire when they turn 65.
But it's more interesting to watch what's going on in the retirement home rather than what's going on in Bond's vacation to Japan.
No. Japan is so pretty.
Fun.
Vegas is it's because you're American. This is the problem. You see the neon signs and you yearn for your motherland.
If anything, this makes me want to be an American even less.
Kidding.
Oh no, you've disrespected Paul again. He's left.
He got offended.
Paul keeps leaving out of spite.
No, Jan, you don't get it. This movie makes me proud to be an American. I'm proud I live in a country where we fake the moon landings, we blow all our money on Las Vegas, and we make all our weirdly sexualized henchmen specific references to Disney films. That's what being an American is all about. And I say, God bless the United States.
And the true embodiment of the American spirit is Jimmy fucking
Jimmy Dean as Howard Hughes making a sausage.
This might be the most American movie I've ever seen, and it's about a British spy.
This is like the grotesque version. This is like watching, like, I don't know, like how Breaking Bad does Mexico. But this is like how the Brits do America.
And you know what? It's 100% accurate.
Guy Hamilton's whole James Bond tenure is watching how Breaking Bad does Mexico, except to the United States.
Should we?
I think that's pretty fair.
Should we check on Paul?
I was gonna say, did Paul give his opinion on the movie?
Yeah, no, but
yeah, he did. But
he did.
He got so offended at my anti-American sentiment.
But I'm like, I feel weird ending the podcast if Paul's not
Without
here.
him. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't have a a and Jan's editing this, so I guess we can do
just
whatever
keep
we
going.
want.
We can just keep talking.
We can just keep talking about this.
Oh, hi, hey guys, this is Paul. I'm back.
Paul.
I got so offended by this talk of America. My young Texan heart couldn't take it, but now I've calmed down and I'm back.
Paul, well, this is deserving of you for giving Sean Connery's wake in this movie 7 out of 10. How dare you?
Yes, as you know, I'm Paul, and I love bad things that suck, and that's why I love the wig, and that's why I don't like good things like the "You Only Live Twice" song. But you know, that's me. That's idiot Paul. That's.
Aw, Paul, your Woodrow Wilson poster looks lovely in your living room.
Yes, I masturbate to it every night. Every night I caress it, and I jizzle over the poster.
Okay, it looks like.
Oh my God!
Well, with that.
Oh my God, Paul, you've lost your internet. Diamonds Are Forever.
Yes,
has
well,
taken
you know,
out your
I downloaded so much Woodrow Wilson porn that my internet couldn't take it. But anyways, I have to go back to Australia, so let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So we are done with the Connery era of James Bond. Woo.
For now.
Do you hear that? Can this stop? Can we stop doing that for at least a few episodes while we get into Roger Moore? We're gonna stop this bit for a little bit. Okay. All right. So next week, so let's celebrate. We've hit a milestone in the Bond series. We are on to the true embodiment.
That suck.
Yeah, the movies that suck. The true embodiment of James Bond in the 70s. The ones that suck and are very complacent and safe. With the exception of maybe one or two or something. Maybe we've changed our opinions on them. Or maybe we have terrible takes. Who knows? We'll get to that,
the next
Troy.
One.
Oh, man.
Yes. We're on to Troy's favorite of the board.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
So anyway, this has been You'll Only Listen Twice. We are signing off for this week. Goodbye, and have a good one. Prepare my battle sub.
Prepare the battle subs.
Okay.
We're ending.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
The end.
Bitch.